Morning, everybody. Welcome into the Mike Missanelli Show. No Mike Missanelli today. I think he's going to be ducking me, but we'll get to that shortly. But we got Ray Dunn sliding into the studio better than he slides into the DMs on Instagram. What's up, Ray Dunn?
Jeez, man. It's 10:02 in the morning.
Oh, we're getting
Leave
started, man. Coming out with a bang. We got Austin Jones behind the glass, but a lot to get into today because an interesting game last night between the Phillies and the Braves. I know it's only one of 162, but an extremely disappointing way to lose that baseball game. So we're going to talk about that. I will be taking a victory lap a little bit later. I'm not going to start the show with it, but I will be taking a victory lap. And we are about 2 weeks away from the NFL draft. So we're going to do some draft talk because there just does not seem to be a lot of excitement right now in the city about the NFL draft. And I think the Super Bowl played a part in that. The fact that you have the 32nd overall pick played a part in that. But we're going to start our draft talk. But let's start the show reacting to that game last night. So the Phillies fall 7-5 to the Atlanta Braves. The pitching duel we all expected it to be, Ray. Zach Wheeler gives up how many earned? 5. Chris Sale gives up 5. And neither one of them really looked sharp. Wheeler, not his best stuff, but I felt like he did enough to win the game. Obviously, there was the blunder in center field, which we'll talk about. But mainly for me, I look at that game last night, and the same concerns I had after the Dodgers series still exist. You got issues in your bullpen. You got issues in your outfield. You have issues at third base, in my opinion. But what stuck out to you the most after that disappointing loss last night?
Well, I think the drop, or not even the drop, the ball dropping in the outfield is the biggest thing that sticks out to me from last night, just because, hey, if there's one thing Rojas is supposed to be when he plays for this team, he's supposed to be aces defensively. He's supposed to be the guy that you can count on to make plays out there. And not even like that's a difficult play, but when you have Edmundo Sosa having his first day out there in left field, as the center fielder, it's your job, one, to communicate, and two, you have to know that he has no idea in terms of the communication that you're going. If he's saying you, guess what? You're the center fielder. You're in charge. You're calling him off. Whatever he's saying, call him off. You know that's your ball. I think that was just massively disappointing. I've said this about Marsh a few times, that I felt like his communication in the outfield at times when he plays center field has left some to be desired. Rojas absolutely did right there, and that forces Wheeler to throw more pitches. It forces, obviously, the hand of what happens in that inning. That just can't happen, and that sets you behind the 8 ball, because when you score 5 runs in a game that Zach Wheeler starts, even when he doesn't have his best stuff, you expect to win that baseball game. You could go look at the bullpen, and you could go look at the guys that were thrust into positions that did not do their job, Kirkering, Banks. Like, you can start going down the line there. And now, before the game, you got Rob Thompson saying Romano is, we're going to give him some time. 3 times in 4 days is a little much early in the season. Maybe he needs some rest. I don't know, a phantom IL for him. So I think the bullpen concerns are still there. That's something you can address. But when we went into this season talking about what they did and didn't do in the offseason, the outfield was a primary concern of what is it going to look like. And last night it was outlined in neon that is still an issue with this baseball team.
Yeah, you're right. It was outlined in neon. And when you look at Johan Rojas, you're there mainly because of your fielding. Primarily because of your fielding. And if you're not going to be able to take control in center field, then what are you even up here for? You're not here for your bat. You're here because you're supposed to be an unbelievable fielder. We keep hearing that. And I know he has moments, but that's just unacceptable last night. And I do want to get into that because I want to talk more about the outfield situation coming up. But before we do, and before I take my victory lap, you're damn right, I hope Mikey Miss is listening. Because the book Baseball for Dummies, I think I'm going to have to, if he bought it for me, I'm going to have to give it back to him because I was spot on. But let's talk about the bullpen before we get into that.
I don't want to take a victory lap, but I'm going to start taking the victory lap.
I'm going to be insufferable all day. I'm just telling you right now.
Anything different?
All that'll be coming up. But I want to talk about the bullpen because the outfield issues, yes, we'll get to it. But you look at this bullpen, and we knew when they lost Hoffman that was going to be an issue. I didn't mind that they let Estevez walk, but, he was an upgrade from what you have right now. I would take Estevez over probably everybody in the bullpen except for Alvarado and Strahm right now, maybe Kirkering. But when you don't have Romano and you have Kirkering now struggling, what else do you have? I mean, what right-handed arm in that bullpen can you trust right now? I don't see anybody in the pen that throws from the right side outside of Kirkering, and even I'm not 100% sure is the answer.
Yeah, it's a tough day to plant the flag there on Kirkering and be like, yeah, that's something I believe in after what you watched last night. I mean, I think he's the one that you feel like with the upside of his stuff that they can figure it out with him that's early in the season, and he can end up being what you expected as a high leverage guy, but you don't have anyone from the right side right now that you feel 100% confident every time they walk out there. Kirkering's the closest thing you get to it, but you look at last night and you say, okay, not right now. It's not there right now. And even when he came in the other day against the Dodgers, it probably should have been his inning from the jump because you had seen what Romano had been, and you didn't. It's tough to inherit runners the way he did, but he did let those runners score. Like that's a difficult part of what they have in him. And Strahm had the most Strahm outing of all time, where he inherits the bases loaded. I turned to who I was with. I was like, the sac fly and strikeout back to back here to tie the game, but him get out of it is going to be what happens. He's not going to let his own runner score, but when there's an inherited runner on, he's only got one out, there's a good chance that one of those runners are coming home. And that's, again, no slight at him. He's getting the outs. That's more a slight on the pitcher before him. But you look at this bullpen, you have two left-handed options that I trust in Strahm and Alvarado. Thankfully, Strahm is back from what the spring training was, because if Banks was your second left-hander out there, you'd really be in some dire straits right now. From the right side, it's like, yeah, I like Kirkering. Romano's been a mess. And what we like Joe Ross? Like, Joe Ross might be thrust into some high leverage situations. They were talking about him as a bulk guy throughout the most of spring training. Like, that's where you're at right now. And it's not to sound alarmed that you can't fix this at some point in the season, but it was another thing going into this offseason. This is a criticism I've had of Dombrowski now, and really it was crystallized this offseason. They've done more in terms of addressing a bullpen in season where you have to give up prospects for a rental than they have in off seasons. And I think that's a mistake. I think that's in terms of team building, future building, I think that's a mistake for them. They should go into the regular season with more leverage guys, and I think this offseason they've failed to give themselves the runway to do that. Yeah, I'll hold out hope that Romano comes back to form, but right now, what suggests that that's the case other than just hope?
Yeah, no, I'm with you. It should have been addressed, but at this point, we can't go back and change it. So now we just have to hope that they could figure something out going forward with this bullpen. And you mentioned Joe Ross. I like him, but can he stay healthy? If they do start to rely on him in these high leverage situations, the issue with him has been health over the last couple of seasons, just like you got with Romano. So we want to talk about it all today. We want your reactions to last night's game. We know it's only one of 162, but it was a disappointing loss. It's a loss that the Phillies should not have suffered when, as Ray said, you score 5 runs in a game where Zach Wheeler's on the mound, you should win the game. Especially, they battled back, too. Even after that 3-run home run, they battled back to make it 4-3. But we want your reactions to the Phillies game. Coming up next, we're going to get into the decision of Rob Thompson to put Edmundo Sosa in left field and what that means and whether or not that experiment should continue. But it's also General Knowledge Wednesday. Now, Mikey Miss is not here, so we're not going to do general knowledge the way he does it. But I told you, the draft is about 2 weeks away. And we want to start getting the excitement level up because the NFL draft is always fun. So what we're going to do today is NFL draft, specifically Eagles draft trivia. And if you get it right, you are going to qualify to win. And there's a great prize today. So today's winner will get a pair of tickets for Wednesday and Thursday to the Truist Championship at Philadelphia Cricket Club in Flowertown. That includes the official Pro-Am and Creator Classic on May 7th and a round of competition on May 8th. This is one of 8 signature events on the PGA Tour. It's going to feature all the top players competing in a no-cut event right here in the Philadelphia area. Tickets are on sale at truistchampionship.com, but you can win those tickets today, and all you got to do is get an answer right when it comes to Eagles draft trivia. 610-632-0975. But coming up next, we're going to hear the experiment in live analysis from Tom McCarthy and Ben Davis. Edmundo Sosa, Johan Rojas, what happened? We'll hear from Rob Thompson, and we're going to take your calls on whether or not you would continue that experiment in left field with Edmundo Sosa. And I will be taking my victory lap. I don't care what the YouTube chat's saying now, saying that Mikey Miss was right. He was wrong. We'll talk about it coming up next.
Tyrone Johnson.
It's notable, not just that they won 2 out of
Welcome back into the Mike Missanelli Show. No Mike today. If you're just joining us, Mike's off the rest of the week, but you got me, Bill Colarillo, you got Ray Dunn, we got Austin behind the glass. A lot to react to from last night's Phillies game, and it was a disappointing loss. We started the show talking about the bullpen, a lot of the question marks there, but I want to change gears a little bit and talk about the outfield. Because if you tuned in yesterday, you heard Mikey Miss come at me on multiple occasions when I suggested that they were going to put Edmundo Sosa in left field yesterday. I believe I was called an idiot. I believe I was called that this isn't beer league softball. I believe I was told I need to book baseball for dummies. I believe I was told it would never happen. At one point, Mikey Miss got up from this chair, walked out of the studio screaming, "Does anyone know baseball?" Because Bill doesn't. And one of these days, Mikey Miss is going to realize that Billy Baseball knows what he's talking about. Because not only do they put Edmundo Sosa in left field last night, in the bottom of the first opportunity for Edmundo Sosa as a left fielder in Major League Baseball, this is what it sounded like.
0-2, hit in the air to left field, pretty well hit. Sosa's getting a chance, go over toward the corner, toward the wall, and he reaches up, and he made the catch! Oh, like Spider-Man! Edmundo Sosa getting his feet wet here in the bottom of the first inning. He just robbed Marcell Ozuna of a home run. And look at the smile on his face.
The only person who had a bigger smile on their face than Edmundo Sosa was Bill Colarillo. Because then I go to Twitter, and it was great. Because Mikey Miss, I'm going to give him credit. He tweeted out, if you're not on Twitter, "Okay, with that Sosa catch, I'm officially an idiot." Those are Mike's words, not mine. I'm officially an idiot. But then me and Mike were in a little bit of a text battle because he loved what happened next, which was in the third inning when there's a routine pop-up to the outfield, and this happens. Austin's got it. Here we go. This happened in the third.
Fly ball, left center field. Sosa makes the call. You might as well. Oh, he just let it go. Rojas thought he was going to get it. Rojas thought Sosa was going to get it. Johan's got to take charge there, doesn't he?
100%. It's his ball. He's the commander out in center field. He takes control, especially when you have your first start in left field for Edmundo Sosa. It just can't happen.
So you heard on the NBC Sports Philadelphia broadcast there. That's Tom McCarthy and Ben Davis. No Crucker on the broadcast last night. And you hear Ben Davis right away in real time say what all of us were thinking. That's on Johan Rojas. Rojas is the center fielder. Not only do you have a guy in left field who's never played the position before, even if that was Max Kepler, it's up to Rojas as the center fielder to take control in the outfield, and the ball literally almost lands on his foot. So I am not stopping my victory lap because of that play, because that is not on Edmundo Sosa. Sosa robs a home run in the first inning, and that one was on Johan Rojas. So I want to ask everyone, I'm going to ask Ray, and I want to ask all of you, one, do I deserve my victory lap over Mikey Miss? And two, would you continue this experiment? Because for his first game ever, Ray, ever in left field in Major League Baseball, I thought he did pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's going to point to that ball dropping in the outfield. I still think that's a Rojas problem. I think that's 100% a Rojas problem. I understand, part of the confusion is because Sosa's out there. Well, guess what, Rojas? You've been doing that your whole life, and you're the center fielder. You're in charge. Now, if you want to tell me that's part of the reason why we can't do the Edmundo Sosa and center field conversation, I'm all ears for that one. In terms of a left fielder, that is on Rojas to make that call and make that catch. For Sosa, especially the first-time outfielder out there in left field, the center fielder has to communicate that with him, and the center fielder also, that's just his ball in general. With the range that Rojas has, you expect him to get that baseball. So I'm not blaming Sosa for that one. It's a conversation that maybe you can't end up putting Sosa in center field because, one, he hasn't played outfield before until last night, and that one inning in center field on Saturday. But I don't think he necessarily understands yet the communication out there to handle the responsibilities of center fielder. But I'm going to continue that experiment. Of course I am. I need to shore up this lineup. And part of the problem here, and this is a baked-in problem to what they came into the season with, and
That's on Dombrowski.
Weston Wilson is coming. Whatever. If you want to
He
hold out for
started his
Weston
rehab
Wilson,
assignment, I believe.
If you want to hold out hope for Weston Wilson in left field, go ahead. Knock yourself out. But they need someone with a right-handed bat in the line. You can't have Kepler, Marsh, and Stott in the lineup against the lefties. And really, you're getting to a point where those three in the lineup, like Kepler, I understand, some nice walks early on, some nice at-bats. He's still hitting 172 to start the season. And Marsh is still under 200 to start the season. Like, Sosa's a guy that's got some juice right now. He's seeing it at the plate. Tough day yesterday, but to get him in the lineup, you got to do some creative things. I think him in left field is not a disaster waiting to happen in the outfield the way some people anticipated it being.
Yeah, it wasn't a disaster. Look, the communication there is an issue. Rob Thompson talked about it. And I'll play that clip for you coming up. But Rob Thompson talked about it and said Sosa's saying you to Rojas, and he shouldn't be saying anything. But regardless, it's on Johan Rojas. The ball almost hits him on the damn foot. But I want your reactions because Ray brings up a good point. I mean, the reason you're in this predicament, that you do have to even experiment with a guy who's never played outfield before, the reason you have to experiment with it is not only because Sosa's got a hot bat, it's because you don't have any other options out there. When they signed Max Kepler, I was excited about it. I still am excited to see what Kepler can do, but it was another left-handed bat, and that's why we all were scratching our heads like, well, what are you doing bringing in another left-handed bat? You looked at that outfield last year. It was an issue. It's an issue again. You looked at that bullpen in this offseason when they let Hoffman and Estevez walk and thought, all right, you got to do something. Well, their big signing was Jordan Romano. Looks like that's going to be an issue. So you don't want to overreact. The team is still 7-3, and they're off to a good start. But they did play two bad teams in the Rockies and the Nationals. Now, great series win against the Dodgers, but it did highlight some of these issues, and now they were highlighted again last night. So we want your reaction.
Please, Bill. Don't turn this into a strength of schedule conversation 10 games into the season.
Ray, we can't deny the fact. Like, look, you got Taijuan Walker on the mound today, and we're going to talk about that more throughout the show. He had a great outing against the Rockies. Can he duplicate that against the Braves lineup?
Yeah, but that's a different conversation than you already start with the strength of schedule here. They are winning games. They're 7-3. They lose last night. You're frustrated. Could you imagine we would have burned down the city at this point if they lost series to the Nationals and Rockies to start this season?
You are correct. You can only beat the teams in front of you. It's just that the Dodgers series, even though they won, and now the first game of the Braves series, it's highlighting the issues we knew were there. The bullpen and the outfield. These are issues that were not addressed very well by Dombrowski. Doesn't mean they can't. In fact, Suarez is starting his rehab assignment. When he comes back, who moves to the bullpen? So we'll talk about it all. We want your calls. We want your reactions to this Phillies game last night and some of these big issues we're talking about. And mainly, do I deserve my victory lap? And that's really what today's show's about. We're calling this the Bill Victory Lap Show.
Oh, boy.
610-632-0975. I told you we're doing Eagles Draft Trivia today, and it gives you a shot to win tickets. 2 tickets to the Truist Championship at the Philadelphia Cricket Club. It is a great prize. So we're going to continue the Phillies conversation coming up. We'll get to your calls, your text messages, all right here.
Fanatic Sports Update.
I'm Austin Jones, and this is your Fanatic Sports Update. The NFL Draft is 15 days away, and Adam Schefter from ESPN joined Kincade and Salciunas this morning and said he would expect the Eagles to move around this draft. Give a listen.
They've got 20 picks, that they are the team that's most likely to be moving around and making things happen on draft weekend. That's what I said, and there are needs. You know, I think people forget that sometimes they lost a lot of key players on the defensive side of the football, a lot.
So we shall see what they do in the draft. The Phillies dropped game one of their first series with the Atlanta Braves, 7-5 last night. Taijuan Walker is on the mound for the Phillies. First pitch is for 7:15, and you can watch the game on NBC Sports Philadelphia. The Sixers are in the nation's capital to face the Wizards. Tip-off is for 7 p.m. You can listen to that game right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. And the Flyers are at the Garden tonight to face the New York Rangers. Puck drop is for 7:30, and you can listen to the game on our sister station, 93.3 WMMR. This update is also brought to you by the New Jersey Division of Highway Traffic Safety. Texting and driving, big risk, big consequences. You risk traffic tickets, fines, and if you crash and injure someone, you could even go to prison. Brought to you by the New Jersey Division of Highway Traffic Safety. I'm Austin Jones on the home of the 76ers and Flyers, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
in the season for the Phillies, so we don't want to overreact to one loss. But
Too late.
you look at the standings, Ray, no longer in first place. Those New York Mets, after winning 6 in a row, sitting at the top of the NL East.
Get him the Baseball for Dummies book. I'm done.
And the Braves, you don't want to give them any life, man. And with Walker on the mound today, you just never know. We could be looking at a damn sweep by the Braves and not be happy come Friday. But look, not overreacting.
We're not going to overreact. But
Ray.
they've already lost the next 2 games, and they've fallen desperately behind the Mets.
We're not overreacting.
6-1-0, folks. Chime in. We're losing our minds.
Oh, no, we're not. They're still a good baseball team, but there are issues that need to be figured out. And one of them is the bullpen, and the other is the outfield. And they were desperate enough, and I agreed with the move to put Sosa in left field, but that's a result of not addressing the outfield in the offseason, and that's all on Dave Dombrowski. So we're getting everyone's reactions today. We're giving away 2 tickets to the Truist Championship at the Philadelphia Cricket Club coming up May 7th and 8th. But you got to get Eagles draft trivia correct. We're only 2 weeks away, basically. 2 weeks away from the NFL draft, and there's really no buzz. We're going to do some draft talk coming up a little bit later on in the show. But I want to go to the phones because Anthony from Baltimore wants to weigh in on Edmundo Sosa out in left field. What's up, Anthony?
Hey, Bill. Hey, Ray. Hey, man, first off, Bill, would have said a couple things in common, and I was 100% on your side about Sosa in left field yesterday. Bill was saying that Sosa might let Wheeler down when Rojas was the one who let Wheeler down when he made that bonehead play that made him look like he just smoked a doobie.
Yeah,
if he takes one half step forward, he's right under the ball.
It hits him in the head.
Step.
Yeah, if he's one step forward, it's going to hit Rojas in the head. That's completely on Rojas, especially when you know
Now,
you
with
got Sosa in his first game ever. You got to take control as a center fielder.
And with Sosa, I'm telling you, man, that was one of the best robberies I've seen of a home run since Willie Mays. I mean, that was amazing. And I didn't see the Willie Mays. I just saw highlights. I'm not that old. But, the only thing about Sosa, he has everything. He's got the legs. He's good at the dish. I mean, he's that focus that he had tracking that ball down with his glove is amazing. The only thing is I wish I could take him down the yellow brick road singing If I Only Had an Arm to See the Wizard, because that's all he needs. His arm was a little bit weak on those 2 throws to the plate, if you notice.
Yeah, you know what I think, too?
He needs, Bill.
You know what I think, too, though, Anthony, is because he does have a strong arm. I mean, granted, we've only seen it from second or third, but I think there was the nerves, there was the jitters, because he throws the one to home, and he falls over because he's trying so hard. I just think he needs some more experience. I'm not ready to rule him out with his arm out in the outfield.
Maybe it's just his mechanics on the deep throw that he can work on, and then he'll be a perfect left fielder. You know what I'm saying?
That's exactly what I think it is. I think it's mechanics. Now, do you want a Eagles draft question for a shot at those Truist Golf Tournament tickets?
Of course I do.
All right, here we go. This is going to be an easy one now, I think. All right, we'll take a look at when was the last time the Philadelphia Eagles drafted a quarterback in any round of the NFL draft. Who was it that they drafted?
Jalen Hurts.
Oh, incorrect, Anthony.
Who was it?
Appreciate the call. I'm going to give Ray a shot. We're not playing against Ray, but I'm going to give Ray a shot. So who was it? You know, the last quarterback the Eagles drafted in any round?
Tanner McKee.
Tanner McKee. You only got to go back 2 years.
Yeah. I'm trying in my head. Was it 6th?
Tanner McKee, 6th round.
Bang!
Taken in the 2023 NFL draft.
It is against me today. I'm up 1-0.
All right, we can keep score if you want.
It's all right. Not giving it up.
But, yeah, it's funny how quickly we forget. I asked Austin prior to the show. I said, when was the last quarterback taken? It took you a second, but Austin got it.
Because it wouldn't even be – Hurts isn't even the second one because they drafted who was a part of the quarterback factory before? Was Clayton Thorson after? No. What was Clayton Thorson?
You may be taking away a question here.
Well, I'm sorry. I didn't realize Clayton Thorson was going to be a part of today's trivia proceedings.
No, it's not. Clayton Thorson was taken in 2019.
Okay, so he was the year before.
In the 5th round, and then they took Hurts the following season in 2020.
There was one more after. I could have sworn there was one more after. Maybe not. Maybe I'm an idiot.
Well, not because of this, but for other things.
All right.
But listen, we're throwing out the question. We want people's reactions to the Phillies game last night, and we're really spending some time on my victory lap. And I see people in the YouTube chat saying that there's no victory lap. Bryson Stott went 0 for 4. There was the big drop in the outfield, and they lost. No victory lap. Well, number one, I'm taking the victory lap simply because I was told that Rob Thompson would never put Sosa in left field against Chris Sale with Zach Wheeler on the mound. So that happened. And secondly, I still think you have to give Bryson Stott opportunities to hit left-handed pitching. I know he went 0 for 4 yesterday. I get it. But I still think you got to give him opportunities. I think his upside's there. I don't want to stifle him. What do we got on the text board, Austin?
I don't know if you want to see it, my man. It's not necessarily in your favor. The first one was victory lap. If you don't think that this is the sole reason why that ball dropped in the outfield yesterday, you really don't know baseball. If Marsh was in left field, that ball is caught. But because Sosa was there, the center fielder is ashore, and that's why the ball dropped. Bad move all around. I wouldn't be bragging about it.
All right. First of all, when you put in the text, who was it to? Was it they give us a name?
Of course not.
I appreciate the engagement. I appreciate your opinion. However, when you say you don't know baseball, I think any baseball man would tell you that that's the center fielder right there. And in fact, the Phillies manager, Rob Thompson, addressed this situation right after the game last night. And listen to what Rob Thompson said, whose fault it was.
Yeah, there was miscommunication, but Rojas is the captain out there, and he's got to take charge. He's got priority, and so we talked to him about it, especially, guys playing left field for the first time in his life.
Was Sosa calling it? Is that the mis-
Actually, he was saying you, which you shouldn't say anything. So there was a little bit of both, but yeah, it's Rojas' ball.
It's Rojas' ball. That's it. Yeah, there's a little bit of a miscommunication. Sosa shouldn't be saying you. But you also know that as Johan Rojas going into this game, that you got a guy playing left field that's never played the damn position before, right? I put this one squarely on Johan Rojas, not Edmundo Sosa. And you knew there was going to be some rust. When you take a guy who's never played the position, not even rust, just jitters, he's going to make some mistakes.
Trying to track a fly ball later in the game that he was a little iffy on. Like you expect that thing. You expect that he's not going to feel 100% out there his first time. Even the ball he robs, you're watching him back up. Like, does he have any idea where this ball is right now? And then he robs the home runs. Oh, awesome! This guy's great.
But really, could we have written a better script? Like, for anyone who listened to the show yesterday, that in the first inning, the first fly ball out to left field, Sosa robs a home run over the wall. Like, it's almost like I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw it. But I still think that you consider this because you don't have the right-handed bat. So you're going to have some growing pains with him out there. But I want Rob Thompson to consider this experiment. You're probably not going to see it for a while because you got some right-handed pitching coming up. And I think you keep Kepler out in left field for the time being against right-handers. But I think you continue this experiment because who knows, come the postseason, if Sosa's got 20 games under his belt out in left field, you feel a little bit more comfortable if you got to put him in that situation against a left-hander on the mound if you can't upgrade that position. So I still want to hear from you, 610-632-0975. We're going to continue that conversation. But I also want to talk about Alec Bohm on the other side because I voiced my frustration with Bohm yesterday. Told him to grow up, and we saw more of the same last night. So we're going to talk about that coming up. Keep it right here.
Tyrone Johnson, Ricky Vitalico.
I think we may have to drop the young Ray Dunn coming up.
I think we agreed. My 25th is where that goes.
Yeah, but the fact that, like, yesterday you get blood work done and all that, I feel like when you're going to the doctor to get blood work, I think that means that you officially are no longer young Ray Dunn.
That was awesome last night. So I went and watched the game at Kelly Ann's in Fairmount. Big fan of the place. Wings, fantastic. Roast pork sandwich was a wonderful time. Hanging out with my guy Cliff. And after the game, obviously disappointed with the game, make the walk on back to my place, and I get the notification that I got the results from my blood work. So
that's quick, dude.
Yeah, oh my God, it was amazing. So shout out to all those people that took care of me like that too. And to be, after a few, looking at the fact that you're just a healthy man, felt awesome. I felt pretty good last night. I don't understand any of it. It was green or red for all the things. I just saw a lot of green, and I was like, you know what? I still got it. I'm just entering my prime.
That is awesome, dude. That is, seriously. Everybody, I mean, when your health goes wrong, you only have one problem. Like that.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Right.
Where I'll be honest with you. I don't like getting the blood work. Like, one, I'm bad with the needles. So that whole thing, I don't like it. I appreciate who I had distracted me because I can't do it at all. Like, thought I was going to pass out. Part of the reason I wasn't here yesterday because I was convinced I was going to pass out, and I didn't want to leave you guys without a producer. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to take the day, and they can deal with it.
You got a text though in the middle of the show.
I got a text at the end of the show. Yeah, those two guys are going to kill each other.
Yeah,
they were like, they need the mediator, and I was like, I can't help the two of them. If they kill each other the day before Mike leaves, that feels like a really, really dumb day to kill one another.
I saw somebody tweet yesterday when we were in the middle of our battle about whether or not Sosa is going to play in left field or not. Like, these guys with the good cop, bad cop, it's too over the top. It's like, no. These are our real opinions. Like, you're not getting that heated over a makeshift argument. Like, we were that serious. And I'm not going to cave when I believe something, and Mike's certainly not going to cave when he believes something. So we had that whole battle yesterday, but glad that you're healthy.
Yeah,
but
feel good.
We'll continue the conversation about the bullpen and the outfield, but I got to talk about Alec Bohm, man. Because you weren't here yesterday, and I was frustrated that Alec Bohm's immaturity showed its ugly head again during the series against the Dodgers. You saw him pouting again at times. And that's the whole reason why he was benched last year in the playoffs. You thought when he's the subject of trade discussions this offseason and no team wants him, that he would come back this year and he would be more mature. And then you saw it again last night. The pouting. Like, he has a great 2-out hit in the first inning. After that, he proceeds to come up in the third with runners on first and second, no outs. First pitch, pops it up, shows his frustration. Fifth inning, strikes out, chasing out of the zone. Pitch wasn't even close. Seventh inning, grounds out, way out of the zone. And in the ninth inning, he comes up, Harper's on, 2-score game, pops out to end the game. That's fine. You're going to have struggles at the plate. He's only hitting 200. I get it. It's the way he reacts to it. How do you come into this season knowing that this was a big topic of discussion going into the playoffs last season? You had to be sat down. Then you're on the trading block, and you come into this season, and you continue with the immaturity. It makes me believe that he is never going to change. Because if he's showing this already, and we're only 10 games into the season, things aren't going to get better for Alec Bohm. They're only going to get worse.
I'm going to steal one of your phrases sitting in this 2-chair with. You're not wrong about some of the things you just said when it comes to Alec Bohm. I will say the one thing, the idea that nobody wanted him this offseason, I'm not sure nobody wanted him.
Well, not for the price.
Yeah, nobody wanted him for what the Phillies wanted in return for him. And I think now we are on such high alert looking for the Bohm moments where, like, he's frustrated. Where we're like, how's he going to react?
What was he? What is he? Frustrated?
I don't even think. Did I say annoyed? I don't even think I said the word.
No, you said frustrated.
Okay.
But you said you can't say that word.
No, sorry. We're all looking for the times that Bohm's annoyed, much like I am with Bill every time he opens his mouth.
Keep going. I'm sorry.
We spend so much time, like, you're begging NBC Sports Philly to keep the camera on to see how he reacts. Like, I think at this point we are so hyper-focused on his annoyance with his play and the way he feels about when he gets an out. Like, he has to work through it. He does. It annoys me to no end watching the way he reacts to things, mostly because I know, like, that's the emotional maturity that would be the reason why, like, a lot of us couldn't ever succeed at that level. Like, you see someone with that much talent, you want him to just overcome that and realize there is another moment. There is another at-bat coming. And I don't know right now if that's necessarily the biggest thing that's dragging him down. I don't know if he's just going through a little bit of a slump, but they're not going to have this year. They were trying to sell you the hand at the end of last year was the thing that slowed him down. Like, they don't have any of those excuses at this point. He has to grow past this. He has to grow back into the hitter you expect him to be. And I think we're doing a little too hyperfixation on the attitude, but I can't lie to you and tell you that it's not something I'm also looking at and I'm also frustrated.
But the reason why we're hyper-focused on it is because he brought it upon himself. Like, if we didn't have all of these issues consistently with him, going all the way back to, I hate this bleeping place, right? I mean, going all the way back to that, the fact that it's continued for this long is the reason why we're hyper-focused on it. Like, you're not looking at other guys on this team after every time they struggle and say, oh, did you see the way he reacted? You're doing it with Bohm because he's brought it upon himself, and it's now his MO that he acts like a baby. And you just asked a question. You don't know if that's what's affecting him at the plate. I'm less concerned about his moping affecting him as much as it affects everybody else. Like, you don't want to be around a guy like that. In any industry, you do not. Ray, if you came to the show every day and I was, oh, man, that was such a bad segment. Oh, I didn't like what I said. Did you hear my point there? It didn't work. Like, it's going to start to get to you after a while. Oh, what a bad take I had this morning. You know, like.
No, that's just what I'm thinking about you from the other side of the glass.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is in any industry, and especially with sports, you don't want a guy like that around you. That's just constantly the moping and being a baby and the constant complaining. And I felt it on the first game of the year when there was the Shadows in Washington. And he gives the interview after the game, and he goes right away to the Shadows, which I knew were a problem. But then, this is why we can't play games at 4 o'clock. It's like, boom, anybody else I would have been okay with complaining. You came into this season, and they don't want you to be the baby, and you're the one right away. We shouldn't have games at 4 o'clock. It's like, dude, you got to grow up. You got to go out of your way to not come off as a moping, whining baby, because that's how you're being viewed. Not only here anymore, I think across Major League Baseball, unfortunately.
Yeah, but I think from what you said about the guys in the clubhouse, like, I'm sorry. If you're Bryce Harper, you're making $330 million. You're JT Realmuto, you're making $100 million. You're Nick Castellanos making $100 million.
But you don't want that.
No, but one, don't let his attitude take you down. And two, one of you have to get through to him.
Thank you.
Somebody has to get through to Alec Bohm. If it's that big of a problem for the guys in the clubhouse, one of you has to get through to him. You guys had the whole grow-up moment with him. Make sure it happens, okay? You talk about people in any industry and the way you might feel about it. If you saw me like that every day, wouldn't you make a conscious effort to try and get me out of whatever funk I was in? No, isn't that like
you're
at
correct.
some point leaders got to be leaders, and if we're saying that this is going to impact everyone, this could drag him down. You need Alec Bohm. You can't accomplish what you want as a team this year with him hitting 200, with him having that mentality. One of you has to get through to him then.
So Austin sounds like he agrees with you. Like, you want one of these leaders to go to him. But the thing is, Austin and Ray, how do we know that they haven't? Like, he literally got benched in the playoffs last year because of this. So if getting benched by your manager doesn't do it for you, how do we know that Harper and Schwarber haven't pulled him aside and been like, yo, dude, enough is enough. And this is just who the guy is.
I'll give Harper credit. The quote earlier this season where he said, we love that guy. And he acknowledged the trade rumors in that whole exchange where he was like, yeah, we love this guy. You know, we want him in this locker room.
He actually didn't say we love this guy. He said we love that kid.
That
actually bothered me that he called him a kid because he's not a damn kid. He needs to grow up. So it did actually bother me that Harper used the word kid. Stop treating Alec Bohm like a kid, dude. He's not. He's 4 years older than you, Ray. And we're talking about dropping the young Ray Dunn from the intro because you're not a kid. Alec Bohm is not a damn kid.
Dude, he used the phrase kid. Can you let it go? I forgot that you had that asinine take about it. Oh, my God. Harper's trying to show a little bit of love to one of his teammates. He called him a kid, and it's the end of the world.
He called Alec Bohm a kid when we're saying he needs to grow up. I'm telling you, all of this stuff matters. All of it matters. If we're trying to drop the whole daycare nickname for these guys, don't refer to Alec Bohm as a kid. He is a grown man who needs to grow up and stop acting like a kid, so no one should be referring to him as a kid, especially if you want Harper to be the one that goes to him to says, yo, stop this stuff. All right, we'll continue this conversation. I want your opinions on this Phillies team because we're not overreacting today. I want to make that clear. They're still 7-3, Ray. They're still 7-3. But I want your reactions to what happened last night, the bullpen, the experiment in left field. Would you continue it? And I want your thoughts on Alec Bohm. You agree with me that this has to stop. He's got to grow up. 610-632-0975. We'll be right back.
Fanatic Update.
I'm Austin Jones, and this is your Fanatic Sports Update. This update is brought to you by Groundworks, your expert for basement waterproofing and foundation repair since 1997. Book your free inspection at groundworks.com. The NFL Draft is 15 days away, and Adam Schefter joined John Kincade and Andrew Salciunas this morning and said he would expect the Eagles to move around the draft. Give a listen.
They've got 20 picks, that they are the team that's most likely to be moving around and making things happen on draft weekend. That's what I said. And there are needs. I think people forget that sometimes. They lost a lot of key players on the defensive side of the football. A lot.
So we shall see what they do. The Phillies dropped game one against the Atlanta Braves last night, 7-5. Taijuan Walker's on the mound today for the Phillies. First pitch is at 7:15, and you can watch the game on NBC Sports Philadelphia. The 76ers are in the nation's capital to face the Wizards. Tip-off is for 7 p.m., and you can listen to the game on 97.5 The Fanatic. And the Flyers are at the Garden tonight to face the New York Rangers. Puck drop is for 7:30. You can listen to the game on our sister station, 93.3 WMMR. And this update is also brought to you by the New Jersey Division of Highway Traffic Safety. Texting and driving, big risk, big consequences. You risk some traffic tickets, fines, and if you crash and injure someone, you could even go to prison. Brought to you by the New Jersey Division of Highway Traffic Safety. I'm Austin Jones on the home of the 76ers and Flyers, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Bill Colarulo, Ray Dunn, Austin Jones behind the glass. We're talking Phillies to start the show. We're going to get into the NFL draft coming up because it's about 2 weeks away. But we've been talking about the Phils. We're reacting to last night's disappointing loss to the Braves and trying not to overreact. And
Season's over.
I see people in the YouTube chat, they're 7-3. Why the negativity? I don't want to be all negative, Ray.
No.
It's just that when you're looking at a team and you're looking for perfection, which maybe it's unfair, but that's how I look at the Phillies. I want to see this team go and have a deep October run. Is you're identifying some weaknesses that have shown in the first 10 games of the season. And one of them is the bullpen, and the other is, again, a lack of bats in the outfield. And we were just talking about Alec Bohm at third base and his sulking, and that bothers me. But Brandon Marsh has been an issue as well. And last night, the reason that you have to have Sosa in left and you're putting Rojas in center, and Rojas doesn't give you much at the plate, is because Brandon Marsh can't hit left-handed pitching. He does come in as a pinch hitter last night, substitutes in for Rojas once they go to the bullpen, and he strikes out again. And now Marsh is hitting 167 on the season. So there are still some weaknesses, but I don't want it to all be negative. So let's talk about something positive.
Oh?
Kyle Schwarber, man.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Did you see that home run last night? My God.
It was funny. I think this was my guy Tim Kelly Sports tweeted this out. Like, I don't know how any left-handed bat hits off of Chris Sale, and then immediately, like an hour later, has to quote tweet with, "Well, I guess I'm an idiot because Kyle Schwarber just did that." Like, he's been incredible to start this season, and his home run pace. I've been doing some like numbers on it just because it fascinates me the way he's been able to hit home runs as a Philly. I mean, he's already top 20 in Phillies history.
Was he 18th?
3+ year, 18th, yeah. But first 500 games as a Philly. There's one guy that hit more home runs in his first 500 games as a Philly. Ryan Howard. That's it.
So and Schwarber's on that pace?
No, he's not going to pass. Listen, Ryan Howard's first 500 as a Philly. You're gonna have to come in your prime, and you're gonna have to be able to start like knocking home like 40 plus a season. Last year he fell off the pacing of it because Howard had that 58 home run season. But like Schwarber, in terms of what he's doing and the pacing he's at Major League Baseball, like since the start of the 2022 season, it's Aaron Judge and then Ohtani and Schwarber. Ohtani and Schwarber now have 136 home runs since the start of the 2022 season. Judge is the only one with more. Like, I get it. Like, Ohtani, you're looking at, like, yeah, he can pitch and what he's done with the Dodgers, and obviously that makes him certainly much more valuable just as a whole picture, and Aaron Judge plays the field. But what you get, the power from Kyle Schwarber, I don't want us to, like, take for granted just, like, the generational run that he's on as a power hitter here as a Philadelphia Philly and what you've gotten to start this season. I know people are making it's April and June, or June and April, conversation about him, but he's on pace for a mega season, and he's already had one of the great power surges we've ever seen as a Philadelphia Philly, to the point where, when's that extension coming? Could we sign that piece of paper right now?
I do want to talk about that, but you're listening to the Mike Missanelli Show on WPEN and WPEN HD1 Burlington, Philadelphia, Beasley Media Group station, broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studios, powering possibilities. Yeah, you bring up a great point because Schwarber's in the final year of his deal, and I've heard on the weekend Kevin Cooney was talking about this a couple weeks ago, and I think you've talked about it before as well, is, would you extend Schwarber now? Because if he continues this pace that he's on, and we haven't even seen June Schwarber yet, how expensive of a deal is he going to require this offseason? So would you extend Kyle Schwarber right now? I'm going to be honest with you. I said this to Kevin Cooney when we did our crossover. I wouldn't. I kind of like the fact that you got these guys hungry, and when we look at the Eagles and how can you emulate what the Eagles have done, they've stopped giving extensions in season. They don't do it anymore because, number one, I think it does something to the player. Even though Kyle Schwarber is always motivated, it does do something to the player in a contract year. Even subconsciously, it's going to do something where you're in the final year of your deal. You're going to just have a little bit more focus, but also what it does to the other guys on the team. Because if they were to give Schwarber an extension, doesn't JT look around, what about me? Oh, no, we're not going to extend you, JT. I just don't like what it causes in the locker room, or the clubhouse in this case, but that's why Howie Roseman stopped doing it. And in Howie we trust, man. So if it's worked for the Eagles, I think you use the same approach. I would not extend anybody on this Philadelphia Phillies team until October's long gone.
That's very nice. That's a very nice way to put it. If Schwarber hits the open market and someone wants to throw a bag at him that the Phillies won't be able to because they got other things they need to address, I'll be livid.
Well, if that's what happens, then that's what happens. But if it helps you get over the top and you win a World Series this year, then I'll take it. If Schwarber has a monster season in a contract year, so be it.
You're telling me right here that what you're willing to do is dangle a contract extension in front of him like it's one of those toys for a cat that you're trying to get him to run around and chase. And that's going to be what leads the Phillies to a World Series.
It's possible. Look at the Philadelphia Eagles last year. They could have extended Bohm in season. They knew they wanted to keep him. They didn't extend him in season. They had to overpay a little bit to keep him in the offseason,
They ended up getting
but they didn't extend him. So I just look at it as it doesn't always work out the best when you extend the guy in season because of what it does to the other guys. Because I know your opinion on this. You would not give JT an extension.
Not right now, for certain.
All right, so if you gave Schwarber the extension next week and then JT's like, yo, I want an extension. Well, doesn't that cause a little bit of issue in the clubhouse? Like, where's my money?
I mean,
I've been battling.
One, if JT doesn't understand the fact that one, Schwarber's made less than him as a Philadelphia Philly, and two, he's a 34-year-old catcher, and Kyle Schwarber's entire function here is just to hit dingers, and that's exactly what he continues to do. Like, he's a 32-year-old DH. He does exactly what you need him to do as a designated hitter. Realmuto has to realize that he's at the point in his career as a catcher where, like, he needs to earn that money. He needs to earn that money at this point. He needs to show that, hey, his knees can hold up. Like, I don't think it's crazy for a catcher to sit there and JT, who knows the game the way JT Realmuto does, to sit there and say, yeah, it kind of makes sense I'm not getting my money right now because I have to put on for an entire season. And you go back last year, JT missed a strong portion of the season because he's at that point in his career. I think he like that. If you don't understand that, I understand why you're saying, like, in the clubhouse you don't want that to happen. But I think if in that clubhouse he doesn't understand that happening, I feel like that's like something in your ego you just have to get over.
I just want to see how this season unfolds. It's not just about keeping Schwarber motivated and focused. It's not just about what it does in the clubhouse. I also, if they fall short this year, like if you give Schwarber the bag now and then they fall short again, now are you a little bit handcuffed in what you can do this offseason and changing things up?
Is he the thing you want to change up, though?
I don't know. I don't know. Look, this past season, I wanted to see them move on from Alec Bohm. I would have liked to have seen them if they could have traded Castellanos, even though he's been your most reliable outfielder, if you could have done something there. Once you couldn't do that, you were handcuffed with all these big contracts. So I love Schwarber. Love him. But if this offseason they fall short again, and that's the only move you can do to maybe free up some money so that they can go out and Dombrowski can spend to change this lineup a little bit, maybe you have to do that.
Well, I'm just saying, like, if you go into next offseason and all right, you want to change it up, do whatever here. You got JT coming off the books. You got Castellanos in the final year of his contract. That makes it a lot more movable, where it's like one team that's able to eat that money for 1 year. I mean, if it's a team that maybe isn't competing. Like, if that was the way you wanted to go about changing things up, and I feel crazy talking about Castellanos that way with the way he's playing right now, because, you know, hey.
He's your most reliable outfielder.
Give him credit where credit's due. I know it's tough for us. But, like, if they want to change it up, they have money coming off the books, and their pieces become a little bit more movable. And, truthfully, like, you're going to have the space to do it probably with the outfield and probably with if Harper wants to do the short-term outfield thing, they want to go after a first baseman, or they realize they need to go out over an outfielder. I don't see Schwarber as a piece that I'll want to change about this team come the end of the season. Like,
no, you're probably right.
It would need to be a colossal failure of the next 152 games of Kyle Schwarber for me to come into the offseason like, you know what? The one thing I want to change around here, that's designated hitter. And I think that you can find more guys that are flexible in terms of the position they play that allows you to be locked in at DH every day.
Yeah, you're probably right. I just want to see them not extend anybody. Let's see how this season goes, because I don't want to see another run in it back if they fall short. But that's another topic you can get in on at 610-632-0975. Spent a lot of time talking about the Phillies. We're reacting to Edmundo Sosa in left field. We're reacting to the bullpen letting this team down yesterday and really showing some major issues with a lack of a right-handed arm in that bullpen. And now, would you extend Kyle Schwarber? Ray would. I'd hold off, man. I take the Howie Roseman approach. So you can get in 610-632-0975. It's General Knowledge Wednesday, but because Mike's not here, we're not doing general knowledge. We're getting everybody excited, or trying to, for the Philadelphia Eagles and the NFL draft coming up in about 2 weeks. We're doing Eagles draft trivia, and the winner's getting 2 tickets to the truest championship at the Philly Cricket Club. 610-632-0975. We'll be right back.
The Philadelphia 76ers.
Here on 97.5 The Fanatic. No Mikey missed today, but you got Bill and Ray. Austin behind the glass. A lot of conversation to start the show about the Philadelphia Phillies, and I do feel bad that it sounds like I'm being a little bit too negative with a 7-3 baseball team. It's just that over the last few games, even though that they've won more than they've lost, there's been some issues that got highlighted, and some of them were here last year. Like when you looked at that outfield last year, you said, all right, there wasn't enough in the outfield. They didn't have that right-handed bat in the outfield, and they come into this season, and I know Weston Wilson got hurt, and now he's doing his rehab assignment, but Weston Wilson, I mean, really? Is he going to move the needle when he comes up? I like him as a bat off the bench potentially, but
how dare you bail on Weston Wilson?
Well, look, I've joked around with Mike. You know,
now it's a joke.
Dubs is my boy.
Now it's a joke.
I think Weston Wilson is a decent bat
panicking
off the bench. He is not going to be an everyday left fielder.
No, he's not.
And Max Kepler, all right, we'll see what he can do.
Oh, now he's bailing on Kepler, too.
Well, we'll see what he can do.
What is left that you hold sacred, Bill Colarulo?
I have not seen enough from Kepler to say, yep, he's going to be your everyday left fielder. Haven't seen enough. Now, I like that Rob Thompson. You know, I do have to say something about Rob Thompson because I have been critical of him in the past. I will say that I have enjoyed seeing Rob Thompson change a little bit as a manager to start this season. He doesn't seem to be the same complacent guy that he was the other couple years. He's managing with a little bit more urgency. Like, I don't think Rob Thompson last year would have experimented with Edmundo Sosa in left field. I don't think he would have pinch hit Trey Turner a few games ago when he rests him because of the back injury or the back strain, whatever it was, and he pinch hits for him coming off the bench. You even saw it last night, even though I didn't like it, bringing in Brandon Marsh in a pinch hit situation. I think he's managing a little bit more aggressively with a little more urgency, and I like that because you know my problem with him last year. I thought he allowed complacency to set in down the stretch, and you weren't going to be able to just flip that switch come the postseason. So I like the urgency in which he's managing. Doesn't mean he's going to get it right all the time.
Knows how to coach.
Oh, don't you start. Don't you steal that.
Well, I mean, I see that chair, and now the Rob Thompson just admiration just radiating from it.
You know why, too? Hold on. Let me show.
Oh, no. Stop. Stop.
If Mikey Miss is listening, I am sitting on his pad.
Oh,
I feel like I earned it. After winning the argument yesterday, I said, you know what? I'm going to sit on Mikey's seat, on his seat pad. If Mike's listening, he's trying to call in. I don't know what he's going to be angry about, that I'm ripping him for being wrong about what they were going to do in left, or the fact that I'm sitting on Mikey Miss's pad.
He uses that for the back. Why would you do that to him?
It's comfortable, man.
Stop squirming around in your chair. It's weird.
It's pretty good. I like it. All right. Well, look, we want to get everybody's reaction to the Phillies, and I'm trying not to be too negative, but we're going to go to the phones because Dr. Mad Alf wants to check in, our buddy Greg from Bethlehem. What's going on, Greg?
Good morning, gentlemen. I use that term loosely. You were right, Bill. Sosa in left field, I didn't expect it, but, I mean, there's mixed reviews. I mean, he had that one incredible catch, robbing the home run, and I don't think he can be completely absolved from the debacle in left center field. It was clearly Rojas's ball, but, not hearing Rojas call it, Sosa shouldn't have said anything. I can understand under the circumstances that you'd have some confusion, and maybe that's why Rojas pulled off. I put the culpability at about 75% Rojas and 25% Sosa. Do you think Stott learned anything last night?
Do I think Stott learned anything last night?
Right.
In what regard? With his approach at the plate you're talking about?
Well, one of your points was you got to put Stott in full time or
correct,
nearly full time.
Yeah, and I know he goes 0 for 4 last night, which I didn't love, but I still think you keep rolling with Stott. Like I would give Stott a couple of months to be your everyday second baseman. I think that his upside's there, and we talked about this a lot yesterday. Outside of last season, you look at Stott's first 2 years with the Phillies, he hit really well against left-handed pitching. If you go back to 2023, He hit 282 against left-handed pitching, so we know it's there. We know he's capable. Like, I've never seen Brandon Marsh do it. That's why I don't care about giving Brandon Marsh opportunities anymore. You can't trust him.
No.
You can't even trust him against right-handed pitching sometimes. But I'm not worried about Marsh against lefties. I just think Stott's upside is there. I would keep rolling with it. But, Greg, where I disagree with you, I wouldn't say 75% on Rojas, 25% on Sosa. I think, and they said it, Rob Thompson said it, Ben Davis said it, I think that is all on your center fielder. He's got to be the captain in that outfield, and the ball literally almost lands on his foot. It wasn't even as if there was going to be a collision and he had to back off. I mean, no matter what Rojas is hearing Sosa say, if he just looks at the ball, it's going to hit him.
Yeah, I mean, clearly it was his ball. He should have called it. I don't know why he didn't. But, Sosa needs to be quiet in that circumstance if he can't get it. But, that's what you get, I think, with a little bit of inexperience out there.
No, you're right.
You think Sosa should be woven into the left field rotation?
Yeah, I think he should be, and I think he will be. Rob Thompson said it after the game that they got to get him more reps. Now, you may not see it for a little while because there's going to be some right-handers on the mound, but it doesn't sound like Rob Thompson's going to stop this experiment. I think they are going to get him some reps. But so, Greg, do you want a Eagles draft trivia question for a shot at the Truist Championship tickets?
Well, I can't go to the championship, so I'll probably pass.
All right, Greg. Appreciate the call, man. So, what do you think, Ray? So, Greg asks, do we think that they're going to continue that experiment in left field? I think Rob Thompson made it pretty clear post-game that they are.
Yeah, I mean, I think they will. I don't think last night, again, I don't really have the same feeling about, oh, yeah, you got to put some of that on Sosa. Yeah, Sosa shouldn't be talking in that situation, but Rojas knows who Sosa is and what this situation was. It's the first time out in left field. Like, that's your ball. You've been playing center field how long? That's why you're here. So, yeah, I don't think that's enough to say, yeah, the experiment's over. We're not going to do it again. And just for one thing, because I know you just referenced the Stott thing, and I don't want to be the anti-Stott guy in the room. However, yes, in 2023, he hit, what was he? Yeah, 280 against lefties?
282, I believe.
282. Bryson Stott, since his last 200 plate appearances against left-handed pitching, that dates all the way back to the end of July in 2023. So this is last 200 plate appearances. He's hitting 213 against left-handed. Like, at some point, he's showing us who he is. Like, I understand we all want to see better things from him, but at some, like, his slugging percentage at that time against lefties is 287. Through 10 games, I'm not ready to say I'm giving up hope on the Stott thing, but, like, you're also not doing this through 10 games. You're doing this pretty much the last, again, 200 plate appearances against left-handed pitching. I want it to work with him. But at this point, for this team, until Sosa cools off and goes back to the player that you expect him to be, that we expect him coming into this season, I don't think there's any world in which Sosa shouldn't be in the game, either left field or second base, when a left-hander's on the mound.
Yeah, look, I like Sosa, man. And we've had this discussion. I want to keep milking him. Mike said that he thinks he's going to come back down to earth, which he's probably right. But I want to keep rolling out Sosa as many times as possible until he does come back down to earth. I just do think that you would stifle Stott a little bit. And I get what you're saying in the last 200 at-bats. Plate appearance, excuse me. But if we do take Stott at his word, he wasn't 100% healthy down the stretch last year.
That doesn't excuse the start of last season. It doesn't excuse the end of 2023.
You're correct. But when you look at the total numbers, though, I mean, the fact that he did hit 282 in 2023 against left-handed pitching, I know what you're saying down the stretch here. That's a pretty then that means how good was his start that season?
How long does he live off the start of 2023? It's a better question, because you echo this point that was made a lot at that time of he could be a future batting champion.
Yeah, he could hit 300. We heard that.
I heard that a lot that year. I'm just saying. At some point, we got to start. And also, I need us to retire the whole, the phrasing you guys use about continuing to use Edmundo Sosa. Both you and Mike have used it.
What, milking him?
Yeah. I'm good with us
people
retiring
in the chat,
that one forever.
Future Man just said in the chat he wants to keep milking him. Come on. You know what I meant.
I think we could retire that one.
You knew what I meant. All right, look, if you still want to get in on the Phillies conversation, you can at 610-632-0975. I want to hear your reactions to what we've learned about this team over the first 10 games and what you would do in left field. But I want to change gears a little bit coming up because we have not talked enough about the NFL draft, and we are about 2 weeks away. So we're going to do some NFL draft talk coming up next, which is always my favorite time of year, but you just don't have that level of excitement. But we'll keep going with the Phillies, and we'll do some NFL draft talk coming up next.
Fanatic Sports Update.
I'm Austin Jones, and this is your Fanatic Sports Update. This update is brought to you by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app today. The NFL draft is 15 days away, and Adam Schefter joined Kincade and Salciunas this morning and said he would expect the Eagles to move around. So give a listen to what he had to say.
They've got 20 picks, that they are the team that's most likely to be moving around and making things happen on draft weekend. That's what I said. And there are needs. I think people forget that sometimes. They lost a lot of key players on the defensive side of the football. A lot.
So will they go defense, offense? Who knows? The Phillies dropped game 1 versus the Atlanta Braves 7-5. Taijuan Walker's on the mound today for the Phillies. First pitch is for 7:15. You can watch the game on NBC Sports Philadelphia. The Sixers are in Washington to face the Wizards. Tip-off is for 7 p.m., and you can listen to that game on 97.5 The Fanatic. The Flyers are at the Garden to face the New York Rangers. Puck drop is for 7:30, and you can listen to the game on our sister station, 93.3 WMMR. This update is also brought to you by ExpressPros.com. Make hiring easier with the workforce exports. Let the people at Express Employment Professionals find the right fit. Hiring is about the people, not algorithms. Visit ExpressPros.com. I'm Austin Jones on the home of the 76ers and Flyers, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Too much milk talk. Yeah, this is Milky Chance for us milking Edmundo Sosa for all he's worth until he comes back down to earth, which may not happen. But we're going to switch gears a little bit because, believe it or not, the NFL draft is about 2 weeks away. I cannot believe that this snuck up on us like it did. But it just doesn't seem to be the same level of excitement that it usually gets. Like, I love the NFL draft. I look forward to it every single year.
Which is so funny for a guy that doesn't watch college football.
I know. I love it. Well, like, what I'll do is I'll start watching highlights and tape on guys like that you're being rumored to maybe be available when the Eagles go. But that kind of leads me to why I think people aren't as excited this season as they are in other years for the NFL draft. One, when you play in the Super Bowl, it's the offseason, like a snap of a finger, it's here. But when you pick 32nd in the draft, it's so difficult to predict who might or may not be there when you're picking in the draft. Like when you are, the year that they got Jalen Carter, I think they had the 10th overall pick that year. They moved up to 9 to get him. There was a million people that you could look at, like the top 10 to 15 prospects in the draft. We were talking about Bijan Robinson. Is Jalen Carter going to fall? Even Nolan Smith was being discussed as maybe being a pick that high.
I remember.
And he falls to 30. So, but I think that could be part of the issue. Like, are you as excited this year about the draft as you've been in previous years?
Oh, for sure not. Absolutely not. Because, like, sometimes you're looking for the guy to change your fortune. I got the greatest fortune of all. We were at a parade. Like, I think that's it. And also, I do have my suspicions that I'm going to stay up all night and I'm going to end up seeing a trade. And I'm going to be livid. Not for me, but for the people that don't stay up late usually. Like if my dad stays up and watches the draft, I'll be upset for him because that ruined his sleep schedule and he saw nothing. My sleep schedule is already ruined. But I'll be upset for a number of people who don't usually stay up late that have to deal with that Friday where they decide to stay up to watch that 32nd pick.
Yeah, so I'm actually going to be on the air. Me and Andrew DeCecco are going to be on from 7 to 10 the night of the draft, reacting. And you're right. Like, if we do this.
Sorry, I don't mean to call out. 7 to 10? You think we're getting a pick by 10 o'clock?
It's usually pretty quick in the first round these days, isn't it?
I don't know about that one.
I felt like when they were picking late to get Smith, I was just waiting and waiting and waiting. So
I don't know about that one. I'm thinking you might want to bring a sleeping bag. You'll be here for a while.
Yeah, we may be waiting.
Yeah, I mean,
well, the Eagles have 8 picks. So here's what they got. So for people who have not been paying attention, the Eagles have 8 picks in this year's draft. They're going to pick last in the first round. Does anybody know why they pick last in the first round?
Because they won the Super Bowl?
Yeah, say it again, Ray. Say it louder.
Because they won the Super Bowl.
You're damn right. They won the Super Bowl. So they pick last in the first round, they pick last in the second round, and they pick last in the third round. So they got a 1, a 2, a 3. They also have a 4, and then they got 4 5-round picks. They do not have any 6 or 7s as of right now. But just like death and taxes, Howie Roseman's going to move around in the draft. We know it. But it's interesting, like, what he does at 32. Does he move up? Does he move down? We're going to have to wait. We're going to have to wait to find out. I heard Adam Schefter this morning on with the morning show. You know, this is the first time since the 90s that we've gone this late into the offseason where every team still has their own first-round draft pick. How crazy is that?
That is crazy.
Every team, all 32 of them, still have their first-round pick. That hasn't happened since going like 30 years ago.
That is weird. Why? What's the deal with all these people? They're not adventurous enough to make a move here?
Well, Schefter touched on it a little bit this morning, and this is the general consensus heading into this draft. It's a very light quarterback draft. So the reason why teams usually will move around in the first round is because they think they may be able to get their quarterback of the future. That hurts the Eagles a little bit because one of the best things when you're picking later on in the draft, when you don't need a quarterback, is to watch the run on quarterbacks early. Because every single team that's going to reach for a quarterback is going to push a better non-quarterback player down the board. You just might not get that this year because outside of Cam Ward at the top of the draft, there's a lot of chatter about where does Sanders go. There's a lot of quarterbacks that maybe are iffy, but teams aren't going to have that first-round grade on them. But do they reach because it's the quarterback position? So it's been a kind of a boring. Maybe that's the reason people aren't as into the draft. There hasn't been any drastic trades yet, right?
Yeah, I think it's a thing about here. I think it's just about where they're picking. And I'll be honest with you. I'm now concerned about you. And what I've been doing here is I've been trying to go back and find what time of night that the pick was made the last time around. I was still tweeting at 11:20 the day of the draft when they drafted Nolan Smith. I got a bad feeling for you guys.
So you you think that we're going to be on the air for a while waiting for the Eagles?
I'm
pick?
just saying, like, if your kids expect you to put them to bed that night, it's bedtime. It's curtains for you. There's
no story for Leon.
Absolutely no way that you are going to be. Yeah, so I'm trying to go. JSN got picked by the Seahawks 20th, and I have tweets that night from 10:30 where he was picked 20th.
So you're telling me we need Howie to trade up to about the top 15?
I'm telling you,
for programming purposes.
Nestle
for
in,
me,
folks.
For me and DeCheco's sake, we need Howie Roseman to trade up.
I mean, I'll come in if you want me to hand the baton to me when they actually do make the pick, but woof, 7-10.
Well, you know what? Maybe for all those people who are going to be waiting for the pick, it's going to be a long night, they should take advantage of our Fanatic deal of the week. Did you see the deal of the week this week?
Oh, I want to take advantage of this deal of the week.
This is going to sell out. So the Fanatics deal of the week, you get a $50 voucher to Broad Street Brewing in Bristol for just $25. So basically half off. Broad Street Brewing celebrates Philly's vibrant culture and rich history with expertly crafted beers that pay tribute to the spirit of Philadelphia. Get this exclusive offer while supplies last at 975thefanatic.com/deals. So take advantage of this and then go watch the draft at Broad Street Brewing. Does it get much better than that?
No, doesn't.
There is another option for us as well, Bill, for that evening of the draft.
What do you got?
Well, perhaps Goddard is moved that day, so that might be something. Or Howie might bring in another guy that is worth the content.
So it's an interesting point that you make because everything we're hearing is Goddard's out, right? You heard it. They talked about him in past tense. Sirianni mentioned him in past tense. Roseman did. Jeffrey Lurie did. So when does he get traded? Is it at the draft? And we've seen Howie Roseman before make trades at the draft, A.J. Brown being one of them, where you completely change your team with one big draft pick that you trade away. And they got a ton of them. They got 8 this year. I just read them for you. But with the compensatories that they're going to get next year, they're going to get another 12 next season. So that's 20 picks over the next 2. I'd be shocked if Howie doesn't do something. But now that leads me to the next question that I want to talk to you guys about, and we'll get into this on the other side. I'm usually a big proponent of best player available, right? You go into the NFL draft, you always take the best player available. But I look at this Philadelphia Eagles team and where they are and who they've lost, and in their quest to try to repeat as Super Bowl champions, and I may actually be recommending draft for need. We'll talk about it on the other side, but you can get in on this conversation, 610-632-0975. And if you get a question right about Eagles draft history, you got a chance to win 2 tickets to the Truist PGA tournament at the Philly Cricket Club. So we got a lot on the table. Keep it right here. We got some more NFL draft talk coming up next.
We want to hear from you. So text
Back in, everybody. Talking about a lot today. We got the fighting Phils, but we also got the NFL draft a couple weeks away. And I watched that Phillies game last night, and it was a disappointing loss. And you leave the game, and you're frustrated with a few things. I was frustrated with Alec Bohm. I was frustrated with Johan Rojas. Didn't necessarily love what I saw from Orion Kirkring, Tanner Banks. But Lenny from Pittman, who wants to join the show, has a different thing that he's frustrated about. And this one I got to hear. Lenny, what's up, man? You're on the Fanatic.
Gentlemen, thank you for taking my call. I love sitting down at night, get done dinner, watch baseball. It all started last year with Aaron Nola. After every pitch, his medal or his medallia or cross would fall out of his shirt. He'd tuck it back in. He'd throw a pitch, it'd fall out of his shirt. And I'm going, oh, my God, well, somebody just, but it's Wheeler. Do you see how many times he licks his finger? He licks his hand after every pitch, and I'm thinking, this guy needs a tetanus shot or something. It's literally obnoxious to watch it. And then my new obnoxious guy, well, Matt Strom, please do something with it. Before every pitch, he fluffs his hair over the back of his neck, then he fluffs it around. Put a rubber band in it or get a man bun. Stop it with this playing with his hair after every pitch.
Lenny, I love that. Yeah. I love that you're calling. I do. I love that you're listening to the show. But really, after watching the Phillies through the first 10 games, the thing you're most frustrated with is Wheeler and Strom?
Pretty much, yeah.
I will tell you, Strom with the hair.
I get a kick. I get a kick out of the topper when it's 98 degrees out and he's got a coat and a long sleeve shirt on. That usually, or a hoodie and a long sleeve shirt. That usually works for me.
Yeah, Rob Thompson usually does that. But like with Strom, we've talked about this before, and Mike's brought it up. Like as long as he's pitching well, the hair doesn't bother you. But then I look at like Brandon Marsh, who's struggling, and he's still got the wet hair and the beard. It's like, all right, man, maybe change it up a little bit. Well, listen.
And can I just?
What do you got?
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, what do you got? I'm listening.
Oh, okay. I just want to know why Rojas is on a major league roster. I just think he's weak up at the plate. Okay, he's got speed, big deal. I just think he takes up a roster spot.
Well, it's starting to look that way, man, because he's here because of his fielding. Right? That's why he's here. And you can't have a blunder like he had last night when the only reason that you're here is because of how good of a fielder you are. But, Lenny, you want a shot at winning the tickets to the truest PGA championship at Philly Cricket?
Hold on. Let me throw my hair back. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
All right, so we're going to ask you an Eagles draft question. Now, this one should be fairly easy. So last year's draft, the Philadelphia Eagles drafted 3 players in round 1, 2, and 3 that helped them win a Super Bowl. Can you name the 3 colleges that their first 3 picks went to?
Georgia.
Oh, incorrect. Hit the buzzer, Austin. See, it's because
my hair was in my face. That's probably why.
I appreciate the call. So, Ray, can you answer that? I thought this was an easy one.
One more time for me.
All right, so last year, Eagles drafted a player in the first round, the second round, and the third round.
Yep.
All 3 players helped them win a Super Bowl.
Correct.
Where did those 3 players go to college? Their first 3 picks.
Toledo.
Correct.
Iowa.
Correct.
And Houston Christian.
Ding, ding, ding. Ray Dunn got it. Good thing the audience isn't playing against you.
2-0 today, baby.
All right, here's the problem.
I mean, Houston Christian would have been brutal for someone. Like, I know we all love Jalen Hunt, but, like, come on.
Well, here's the problem we got right now. We don't have any correct answers from the audience. So I don't know what we're going to do with these tickets here.
It's about time
I
get something out of this game. You know how much I get mocked? You know how much people come up to me with, oh, I don't know how you didn't get that general knowledge question. When I win at an absurd rate still against this audience, and when I win, I don't see any prize. You know what? Today is the day I take the prize.
May be.
And I go down, and I'm also going to take the day off of work that day, so you guys won't have me that day either.
It may be. I thought that was an easy one. I'm going to have to really make them easy from now on. All right? So if you want to get in on the conversation, if you want to weigh in on the Phillies, or if you want to talk about the NFL draft, 610-632-0975. Because one of the things I want to bring up is, should the Philadelphia Eagles do what I usually recommend, which is take the best player available Or should they draft for need? And I want to hear from you on that because my usual stance on this is you always take best player available, especially when you're drafting that late. When you're 32nd in the NFL draft, whoever falls to you, that's the best player on your board, you take. I don't feel that way this year, though, because I look at this Eagles team that just won a Super Bowl, that lost a lot of pieces on the defensive side of the football, and you may be losing your starting tight end voluntarily if they trade away Dallas Goedert. I don't think you go best player available. Like, I'm looking at some of the positions, right, where I think we can completely eliminate best player available. If at 32 the best player available on the board is a quarterback, there's no one that's going to say take a quarterback.
Well,
anyone going to disagree with me on that?
I don't know, man. Did you see the way Hurts played against the Panthers? Am I right?
No, all right. So we're in agreement. You're not going to spend your first round pick.
Passing is the biggest problem with this offense, Bill.
No, I think
6-1-0.
If there's a quarterback available, then you may see how we trade out. But then let's look at the other positions. Wide receiver. Now, yesterday, Mike brought up the fact that there was a mock draft that had the Philadelphia Eagles taking a wide receiver at number 32. I do not. I don't know how much I can make this clear. Do not want to see the Philadelphia Eagles take a wide receiver in the first round. You already have A.J. Brown, you already have Devontae Smith, and you have Jahan Dotson. And Jahan Dotson, although didn't have a monster year, you couldn't expect him to on the 29th ranked passing offense, who threw the ball less than anybody else in the NFL. There's a reason why. But when you needed him in the postseason and in the Super Bowl, Dotson was just fine. He answered the call when it rang. Do not use your first-round pick on a wide receiver. That's a luxury that you do not need. So I'm wiping away quarterback. I'm wiping away wide receiver, even if they're the best available. What they need to do, Ray, is they need to address one of these positions, and I don't think they can wait to address these positions at 64. Like, if a guy is there at a position that you need, defensive tackle, tight end, safety, edge rusher, maybe even linebacker, I think you have to draft a guy at that position at 32.
Okay.
You going to disagree with me or you agree with me on this one?
I have thoughts. I have thoughts on this one. I do.
Right. Well, I will get those thoughts coming up next because not only are we going to hear from you on the other side, you are going to get to judge Austin Jones doing the news at noon in front of the man who has mastered the news at noon.
Intense battle for second.
So we got a lot coming up. So Ray Dunn's going to weigh in on the best player available versus the need discussion in the NFL draft. We got the news at noon. And at 12 o'clock, I'm going to give you another keyword for your chance to win $1,000 in our Fanatic signing bonus cash giveaway. So don't go anywhere. Keep it right here.
Fanatic Sports Update.
I'm Austin Jones, and this is your Fanatic Sports Update. The NFL Draft is 15 days away. Adam Schefter from ESPN joined the morning show of Kincade and Salciunas, and he says he expects the Eagles to move around. Give a listen.
They've got 20 picks, that they are the team that's most likely to be moving around and making things happen on draft weekend. That's what I said. And there are needs. You know, I think people forget that sometimes. They lost a lot of key players on the defensive side of the football. A lot.
We know how he likes to wheel and deal, so let's see what happens. The Phillies dropped Game 1 versus the Atlanta Braves 7-5 last night. Taijuan Walker is on the mound today. First pitch is for 7:15, and you can watch the game on NBC Sports Philadelphia. The Sixers are in the nation's capital to face the Wizards. Tip-off is for 7 p.m. You can listen to that game on 97.5 The Fanatic. The Flyers are back as well, but they'll be in New York to face the Rangers. Puck drop is for 7:30. You can listen to the game on our sister station, 93.3 WMMR. This update is also brought to you by Mercedes-Benz. That feeling of owning your first Mercedes-Benz is hard to believe, but it's real. From the leather stitching to the iconic design, every element of a Mercedes lives up to its reputation. See for yourself at your local dealer. I'm Austin Jones on the home of the 76ers and Flyers, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Missanelli show. If you're just joining us, Mike's off the rest of the week, so you get Bill Colarulo and Ray Dunn, at least for the next 2 days, and then my man Andrew DeCecco will be joining me on Friday.
That's someone excited about the draft.
Oh, DeCecco can't. I mean, he likes this time of year better than any time of year.
It was kind of jarring. I do have DeCecco's note of song because, Eagles Insider, breaking news, reporting stuff. I always want to keep up with the news. And it was kind of jarring to see him tweeting about college basketball.
Well, he won the damn thing.
Well, yeah, obviously. Congrats to you, DeCecco. Good job. But
I actually texted DeCecco because the championship game came down to me and him.
Yes.
And I said, just what people think when they think of the Fanatic hosts, DeCecco and Colarulo, those are the two college basketball guys at the station.
No, and I know he's a sportsman. Like you are a football guy. He's also a football guy, but he kind of like, if there was a Venn diagram of like sportsman and football guy, he to me fits in the middle there, where I think he would be both.
What are you saying?
You're a football guy.
You're not giving me credit for anything else?
You're a football guy. Listen,
I'm Billy Baseball.
I'm not going to give you. Well, no, you're.
I'm Billy Baseball.
No, you're Billy Blue Line is what you are. So I could also give you the hockey.
Billy Bats.
No,
Billy Basketball.
I'm not going to.
Yeah. Knockout champ.
Listen, Austin, I understand you feel a little pressure being here. You got to appease one Bill Colarulo. No need, especially after what you watched him
Austin
go through yesterday.
He just tells the truth, dude.
Okay. Listen, I've been in that chair before, all right? You fill in on one of these shows. You feel like you got to be a little camaraderie. You don't have to placate to him, okay? You don't. It's all right. He can take it.
Do you hear the jealousy in Ray's voice towards my athleticism?
There was nothing about athleticism. This is, again,
to my sports.
Your ego gets in the way because we're talking about just sports and what you watch and what you're invested in, and all of a sudden you're like, I don't think I've talked about how athletic I am in the last hour.
Well, is that how he sounds?
That's exactly how he sounds in my head.
Before the break, we were talking about the draft. And I said, and you're right, Andrew DeCecco is super excited about this. And you could hear him. I think he's on tonight with his draft special.
I thought it was Thursday.
Is it tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night.
Great job.
So tomorrow night.
Guide the people in the wrong direction.
Tomorrow night, you could hear Andrew DeCecco, our Birds Insider, does a great job covering the Eagles, and especially during the NFL draft. But I told you that normally I'm a best player available guy when we're heading into the draft. But this year, I'm looking at it a little bit differently. I'd rather see them draft for need at 32, specifically because I look at like the safety position, and I don't think you're going to be able to get a safety that can step in and contribute this year if you wait too long. It's not a very deep draft at the safety position. So if you got to do something that you really have never done before, which is take a safety in the first round, I'd be okay with that if a guy like Starks or Reed falls to them at that position, even if it's not your best player available. Where are you on this?
Yeah, I'm still going to roll with the best player available here. And there's a caveat there. I'm not going to say, like, again, I don't think the best player available at 32 is going to be a quarterback because I think they're going to be a run on quarterbacks that probably aren't even amongst the top 32 players in this draft just because of how much they value the position. But when you went and talked about the wide receiver position, if you're losing Goddard, yeah, I'm okay adding a little bit to that offense if you go that way. If you feel like that's the best player in front of you. You basically listed off all the positions that you think there's a need at. That's the entire defense.
Yes,
so,
there's
like,
a lot of needs.
I think your best player available, if you're adding to that defense, no matter how you're adding to that defense, I'm in to do it. I understand people will sit here and say, well, do you really need a linebacker? No, maybe not.
You
really
may, though, Ray.
Like,
you may need a linebacker because we don't – look, you got Bourne, but Nakobe Dean's probably not ready. He's not ready from a health perspective, and we don't know what you have in Jeremiah Trotter.
Where I would tier this out is in terms of, like, day one picks, like first-round picks that I absolutely would love to see them make. Interior defensive line's at the top of my list. If there's someone there that you like, I would do that. Beyond that, edge, safety, you could talk me into it for first round. Those would be two that I would be talked into. Everything else is day two and beyond need for me. But if you see someone that clearly stands out as the best available there, I'm not passing up on them because I've got this hole that I got to fix, because then I think you end up missing out on premium talent because you think that you're going to force that guy in a position where he has to play or we need him to play, and maybe he is not ready to play. There's a reason why he's not a first round pick. So I'm not going to reach for need.
Yeah, and we've been a little bit spoiled because last year your first three picks contribute in the Super Bowl. That's not usually the way it goes with rookies. But you're listening to WPEN and WPEN HD1 Burlington, Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station, broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studios, powering possibilities. And I think it's time for another Fanatic signing bonus.
The Fanatic signing bonus.
Give me that money.
Money, 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 money! It's time for the Fanatic signing bonus. It's your chance to win $1,000. The contest keyword is event. EVENT, event. You now have.
Can spell.
I can. It's written for me, though. You now have 25 minutes after the hour to enter it on the Fanatic mobile app or at 975thefanatic.com, or you can text that keyword to the special contest short code 45911, and one random entry will win $1,000 in this company-wide contest. Each winner gets a call from Beasley, so be sure to answer your phone. Contest rules at 975thefanatic.com. The Fanatic signing bonus is sponsored by Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia, voted best casino in PA by Casino Player Magazine. You get 5 chances to win each weekday, 8 a.m., 10 a.m., this one here at 12 noon, and then coming up on the afternoon show at 3 o'clock and 5 p.m. But I want a winner from our show. So the keyword, event, go put it where you got to put it.
All right.
Also, this 12 o'clock hour is brought to you by Service First HVAC, offering 0% financing for 48 months, rebates and tax credits up to $4,300 when purchasing a heating and cooling system. Learn more at servicefirsthvac.com. And now, the moment that Ray Dunn has been waiting for all show. It's time for the news at noon.
There's a whole lot going on in this world. It's time to catch up. Here's the news at noon. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
All right, Austin, don't let Ray down. What do you got?
All right. So, Bill, what did you just do there with the Fanatic cash there? You had like a little read there, right? You know, you pick up the piece of paper, you read what's there, and you keep doing what you're doing. Well, as media people, we know we all have to do that. And Kevin Harlan had to do one last night during the Celtics-Knicks game, and it was rather interesting.
Tonight from Madison Square Garden, the NBA on TNT is brought to you by the new crispy tenders at CarMax. What? The way car buying should be. Can that be? What is that? Wait a minute. Hold on.
I'm holding.
Hold on. Are they serving tenders with cars? Are there tenders in the car?
Because if there is, you're in.
We just had the marriage of 2 different sponsors, and it was ugly. Who wrote that?
Only you can laugh about it.
Well, that just goes to show you, I literally will read anything they put in front of me without even looking like, holy cow.
Yeah, that's Kevin Harlan played that one well. See, we're at the mercy of the producer. When you put this stuff in writing, like Ricky Bowe pulled the Ron Burgundy earlier this year. Like, you guys really have us at your mercy when you put this stuff in writing.
Salciunas, too.
Oh, yeah,
April Fool's Day, they got him with the premium means. But, like, and there's a producer that definitely crawled under the table. And I feel bad for whoever was the producer sitting there that definitely handed that card and didn't proofread it before that card was. Like, the number of people that went through to get to Kevin Harlan is incredible. Like, if it happened to me when I'm doing broadcasts, like, it's like 2 people. Like, the ESPN Plus one, they have a copy they have us read, and there's sometimes, like, for update reads here, I don't read any of the copy. Like, I print, and if they put something on there, like the other day, was it Knox something? I read something, and I was like, if anyone's listening to me right now, they know I did not read this before, and I just started rolling with it. So it happens to me a number of times with update reads. I know when I do like the ESPN Plus to do like the radio stuff, usually it's sent to me before where I have a chance to proofread it. But here, when I'm pulling things in the morning, you could get me pretty easily with an update read if you snuck something in there. And poor Kevin Harlan.
Yeah, but
he's the best.
He handled it really well.
He's my number 1, by the way. If we were doing number 1 seed, like overall number 1 seed in the broadcast space right now, he's my number 1.
That's your guy, huh?
We may have to do that. What else you got, Austin? That was a good one.
All right, so we're going to stick within the NBA world, and this is something that has come up over and over again in regards to the players running the league. And former Celtic Paul Pierce had not an interesting take, but a take we probably all feel in regards to the firing of Michael Malone yesterday.
Players get their feelings hurt in this generation. Oh, I don't like him. He talking bad to me. Man, get on the line. You making $30 million a year. Like, that's what these players' feelings get hurt. I'm telling you, he's a great coach. He's won a championship. Joker is playing the best of his basketball of his career again. And he might win the MVP, he might not. But now, because somebody's feeling hurt in the locker room, oh, we don't like him, we don't think we can win with him, it don't matter. Get over your feelings. He's a successful coach who's brought you to the mountaintop, and now people's feelings get hurt, and now he out of there.
Yeah, I was shocked yesterday when that news came down. And then a couple minutes after, they fired a GM too. But look, Paul Pierce, he can complain all he wants. I don't think the NBA is going to change. Like, it is a player-driven league.
Yeah, but this is one of the things that I can't stand.
It's pathetic in my mind, though.
Like, he put a decade in there. You're about to go into the postseason. You got to fire him because someone's upset in there.
Yeah, it didn't make sense.
Like, nobody's watching. If he's saying they're not watching film, they're not practicing, like, I understand. People hear me, and from my generation, they would expect me to be like, no, it's got to be all, nice and calm and put together and participation trophies, the whole 9 yards. Like, that's what you'd expect from the 24-year-old on the show. We got to be able to deal with a little bit of criticism and a little bit of hard coaching. Like, let's grow up a little. Whoever in that locker room can't deal with Michael Malone. Now, if more comes out, then it's like something beyond that, because it is weird they clean house both of them. Like
right now,
but
right before the playoffs.
My instant reaction to that was, he got on them this week. Someone didn't take it well, and now he's out.
But who, though? Because it doesn't seem like that's what Jokic would do. So is it Jamal Murray? Is it Westbrook? Is it Porter? Or
someone that's under
Gordon?
a contract there? Someone that's got money tied up to him that they know they can't move.
Jokic barely looks like he wants to play basketball, and he's out there dropping triple-doubles.
But when you look at what the Nuggets did and then what the Grizzlies did about a week ago, it's going to be really difficult if Josh Harris tries to sell Sixers fans on. But we're going to run it back. These are two playoff teams, and we've made drastic changes.
Yeah.
But sit tight, Sixers fans, because we're going to run it all back. I would be shocked if that not going to be shocked if it happens, because I said yesterday I could see that happening, but I'm not going to be happy. I don't think Sixers fans will be either.
I think it would be, real quick before we get to the last one, I think it would be kind of hard for the PR team to manage that type of influx they get, because you have two playoff teams that move on from their front office and head coach, and then you have this team that missed the playoffs, terrible season, and they keep them.
Even the Flyers, man. Even the Flyers fired their coach in a season you knew that was going to be another rebuild year. But all right, we'll save the Sixers talk for when Mike comes back. What else you got, Austin?
Last one, going to the NFL, going to the Super Bowl champs, as we all know. The Philadelphia Eagles more than likely will play Week 1 on Thursday night. We do not know who the opponent is, but somebody doubles down. Again, Amon-Ra St. Brown was on the Cold as Balls show with Kevin Hart there, and he doubled down saying that he wants to face the Eagles.
The emphasis
now
on
winning program. Next season, what are the predictions?
We want to win the Super Bowl.
I know, but
nothing.
But we can't, because the Eagles
you
are
just
going to be
won
in
one.
our way. That's what I wanted to hear.
Hopefully we play you guys Week 1.
Oh, is that your wish?
It is.
Well, guess what? I'm going to make a call. You want us, you got us. You're welcome, and I'm sorry.
Yeah, so Kevin Hart, obviously a big Eagles fan. You want us, you got us. I got to be honest, that doesn't bother me at all. Like, I kind of like that Amon-Ra St. Brown saying it, because we all thought last season it was going to be Lions, Eagles, NFC Championship game, two powerhouses that were going to meet and be able to play each other, and we never got the matchup. Sure, put it on opening night, man. That'd be a great game.
Put it on opening night, I'm fine with. Like, if he keeps going with this, we would have beaten them crap, I'm going to lose my mind.
Yeah, I don't like that.
You had the opportunity to show up. You didn't. Like, I'm coming into this season, I think a lot of people think there's like this big gap between anyone else in the NFC and the Eagles. I don't necessarily think that's the case when you see if the Detroit Lions get healthy. Now you have to see what the coaching takes over and what happens there. But I don't know if there's this crazy gap between these two teams. But to suggest that, we would have beaten them, you had to beat the Commanders. You didn't. You didn't do your job. Therefore, you don't get to say that. It's like the Saints players after the miracle of...
yeah.
If we would have won. The Eagles, guess what? The Eagles blew out the team that beat you in the NFC Championship game. Tough. You should have won the game you played.
No, I'm with you on that. And Ray, so that's going to do it for the news at noon. 1 to 10, how'd he do?
I'll go. That was like an 8.
I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, I thought that was a really good one. I'm not really a big I don't give out like just 10s to give out 10s.
Yeah, you're like Portnoy with his pizza reviews.
Sure, something like that.
Right, it's hard.
Good slice of pizza yesterday on my day off.
Oh, we may have to talk about that. But all right, well, we're going to continue. Great job, Austin. Really good job on the news at noon today. So we're talking about the Phillies. That conversation's still on the table, but we were also talking about the NFL draft. And one of the things I mentioned was I'd like to see them address a position of need in the draft, being the safety position. Well, interestingly, a former All-Pro, Pro Bowl safety, who's still a free agent, said some things about how he would like to play for the Eagles. So we're going to get into that audio coming up next. I'm all for this signing. I'll explain on the other side.
Andrew Salciunas.
I can't kind of make some
12:14 here on 97.5 The Fanatic. No Mikey missed today or the rest of the week. But you got Bill and Ray and Austin behind the glass doing a great job. So a lot on the table today. Obviously, we're reacting to the Phillies game last night and trying to look more at the bigger picture with the Phillies and some of the issues that, whether you want to call them issues or not, Ray's being a little more positive than I've been, but some of the issues that have shown early, even though they're 7-3, the bullpen, the outfield, Alec Bohm's attitude, there's a lot. With a 7-3 team, Ray, there is a lot. But
so much. You know what? Actually, I think at this point, we should probably ask the question, by the deadline, should they be selling off some of these pieces?
Well, look, you got to understand something, all right? Coming into this season, I predicted them to win 95 games. So I expect them to be a very good baseball team, and they are.
Are they on pace to win your 95 games?
They are. They're on pace to pass it. But I'm looking at issues that may or may not continue to be a problem, and that's what we have to talk about because the bullpen's been an issue, and the outfield still lacks a right-handed bat. They tried Sosa yesterday in left field, as I predicted. Mike, if you're listening. Bill, you were right all along. Do you have that drop? We should be hitting that all day.
You know, who unplugged this?
Yeah, Ray doesn't have access to the draft board.
Right all along.
There it is.
Bill, you were right all along.
One more time, Austin.
Bill, you were right all along.
You know what? Maybe the last hour we just play that on repeat. I wish Mike, if Mike's listening, it'd be nice for him to call in and say that live, but that was pretty good. But look, we'll continue the Phillies conversation. I want people's reaction to last night, whether they would continue the experiment in left field with Edmundo Sosa against left-handed pitching. But we're also getting ready for the NFL draft because, believe it or not, it's about 2 weeks away, and the Eagles have 8 picks in this year's draft. They picked 32nd in the first round, and they got a lot of needs that I think they need to address in this draft, or at least attempt to. And one of those needs is the safety position. And there was a free agent, veteran, former All-Pro, who talked about the Eagles yesterday. I'm going to play that audio for you in a second, but I want to go to the phones because Nash, where's Nash from, Austin?
Nash is from Westchester.
There it is. So Nash from Westchester wants to weigh in on the NFL draft. Nash, what's going on, man? You're on the Fanatic.
Hey, what's up, guys? How are you this morning?
Living the dream, man.
So, first of all, Bill, you were right yesterday. I was listening to the show yesterday. It doesn't matter where you put Edmundo Sosa. He's hitting 600. You got 3 different guys hitting 220. He needs to be in the lineup. So I think you're definitely right, Bill. So good job there, buddy. Romano definitely needs to go down, though. Every time that guy comes in, I get Aja. Every single time. And to bring him in the other day against the Dodgers in the 7th when you're up by 2 runs, and we saw what happened. I mean, you knew the moment he came in the game that was going to happen. Did either of you feel otherwise?
No, it's been a shaky start, man. Look, they took a flyer on him. He wasn't healthy last year, but you go back 2 years ago, and he was pretty good coming out of the pen for Toronto. It's just last year with the injury, you thought maybe he could bounce back, and I'm not ready to rule him out yet, but it is a major, major concern. But you got anything on the draft, too?
I'm not ready to rule him out. Yeah, actually, Bill, I agree with you on the draft. I think best player available on defense. So if the best player available is receiver, quarterback, whatever, I agree. You don't take that player. But I also don't think you specifically draft for need. I think whoever's the top defensive guy on the board, that's who you take. And I really don't think it matters what the position is.
Yeah, I could get behind that. Now, what if it's a tight end? Knowing that they're probably going to move on from Dallas Goedert, would you consider using that 32nd pick on a tight end if there's a guy there you like?
So I'll be real honest. I'm not too familiar with any of the top end tight ends. This is what I would say. If there's a guy that's a tight end that's supposed to go in the top 10 or 15 and he drops to you, okay. But if it's a tight end that's supposed to be at number 32 versus a tight end that maybe you can get in the 2nd or 3rd round, I'd rather take a stud defensive player. That's just my opinion.
I can get behind that. And you want an Eagles draft question for a shot at winning these tickets to the Truist Championship in May?
I would, but actually, if I could make a comment about golf before that. I heard you guys talking about Masters. I know Mikey Misses down there talking about who's going to win and who would be good to bet on. And
yeah, who you got?
I completely disagree with. Take Ludwig Oberg. He is not even listed in the top 10 in terms of odds. The kid is a stud. He was a rookie last year. I would for sure take him as a top 5 finisher. and I think you're going to get good odds on that. You can go bet Morikawa or any of these other guys, but you're not going to win anything.
So Ludwig is a plus 1,800 to win the Masters. Plus 1,800. I like it.
I think that's good. I think that's good odds.
All right, we've had no callers get a question right yet. So I'm going to have to give you
no pressure.
Yeah, I got to give you a really easy one here to get this right, hopefully. So 2 years ago in the NFL draft, the Philadelphia Eagles had 2 first-round picks. Both players were out of Georgia. Name one of them.
Yes. Jalen Carter.
Yes, finally. All right, Nash, hang on so we can get your information right now.
How about Nolan Smith? We'll go 2 for 2.
There it is.
Yeah, seriously.
He gets both. I had to make it easy.
A little
Ray.
difficult for him.
Ray, I had to make it easy.
Insulting his intelligence.
All right, good job, Nash. All right, so Nash makes an interesting point about taking the best player available on defense. And one of those positions on defense that I think they need to address is safety. If you can't get a safety in the draft, would you consider adding Justin Simmons? Because Justin Simmons, who played for Atlanta last year, he played for the Broncos before that, went on the Up and Adams show yesterday, and he was specifically asked about the Philadelphia Eagles. And listen to Justin Simmons.
The Eagles, though, I mean, how much does the connection with Fangio and Christian Parker, by the way, the DB's coach, how much does that help and tilt the scale a little bit? Be honest.
Yeah, it really does. Like, as honest as I can be, like a lot of it too, going back to your question earlier about Atlanta, like there was a lot of new, right? There's a new system. There's a new way to do it. Like going to Philly with Vic, you know exactly what you're getting out of me, and I know exactly what I'm getting out of them because I've been in the system. I still have a ways to go to mastering it, but there's some things and nuances that I know that Vic likes, that I know that Christian Parker likes, and I think I could really help in that area. Obviously, then moving on from CJ and what he's poured into that city there is big shoes to fill, but I love what they have going on with Blankenship and the rest of the supporting cast there. So I don't know. It's interesting. I'm excited to see what happens.
So that was Justin Simmons on with Up and Adams yesterday. I would absolutely sign Justin Simmons. I wanted him last year, and then they ended up getting, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, obviously, and that worked out. But since they moved on from Chauncey, I'm going to say if they don't get a safety in the first 2 rounds of the NFL draft, I think you'll see them sign Justin Simmons the next day. It's almost identical to what they did with Mekhi Becton last year. They didn't get an offensive lineman early, and then the next day they went and they signed Mekhi Becton. I think you may see the same thing. I know he's 31 years old, Ray, but I don't think you can go into this season, as much as I like Reed Blankenship, Sidney Brown, Tristan McCullum, who is the answer at the other safety position? I think you got to bring in a veteran if you don't get a high draft pick at that position.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'll be honest, I think they should bring him in regardless of draft position, regardless of what you do in the draft.
So you'd sign him no matter what?
Yeah, I'd sign him right now. Where is he? Do we know? Do we know where he is right now?
On the couch.
I mean, I'll take the contract to him personally.
Will you drive him here? Will you go down and get him? Where
he is 31. It's getting up there. The Eagles made a trade for a 31-year-old safety 2 years ago. Didn't work out, and Kevin Byard.
Yeah, absolutely. It might not work out, but at this point, what's your better option?
And that was right before the season. If they're able to get Simmons in, he already knows the system. Hopefully, the overchange won't be too much for him.
Actually, Byard was in the middle of the season. Yeah, they traded Terrell Edmonds and a draft pick
right after Edmonds went to the Phillies game.
Yeah,
the Phillies fell apart after that.
The interesting thing is you heard Justin Simmons talking about his familiarity with Vic Fangio and Christian Parker. So he played under Vic Fangio for 3 seasons, 2019, 2020, and 2021. He was an AP second team twice for an All-Pro, and he was a Pro Bowler once during those 3 years. And you know what else is nice about Justin Simmons? He's never been to the postseason. So I think he would probably give you a team-friendly deal because he wants to play. The guy's as good of a career as he's had. He's never been in the playoffs. Never. So we're going to continue that, too. I want to hear from people on the NFL draft. Would you draft for need? Would you go best player available? And along the same lines, would you bring in Justin Simmons, who clearly would like to play in Philadelphia with Vic Fangio again? You can get in on that conversation. 610-632-0975. But I also want to pick your brain, Ray, on something I read about my hometown. This is really interesting. About living next to a high school baseball field and something that the homeowners are trying to do to stop the baseball season. We'll get into that, too, coming up next.
Fanatic Sports Update.
I'm Austin Jones, and this is your Fanatic Sports Update. This update is brought to you by Sequoia Outback. Stop in for their annual Spring and Sequoia sale going on now, Route 309 in Hatfield or at decksupplies.com. Experience the ultimate indoor outliving at Sequoia Outback. Now, we are just 15 days away from the NFL draft, and Adam Schefter from ESPN joined Kincade and Salciunas earlier today and said he expects the Eagles to do some moving around, so give a listen.
They've got 20 picks, that they are the team that's most likely to be moving around and making things happen on draft weekend. That's what I said. And there are needs. I think people forget that sometimes. They lost a lot of key players on the defensive side of the football. A lot.
So where will they go? Defensive end, outside linebacker, who knows? D-tackle. I don't know. The Phillies dropped Game 1 versus the Atlanta Braves 7-5 last night. Taijuan Walker's on the mound today. The Phillies' first pitch is for 7:15, and you can watch the game on NBC Sports Philadelphia. The Sixers are in Washington to face the Wizards. Tip-off is set for 7 p.m., and you can listen to that game where? On 97.5 The Fanatic. And the Flyers are at the Garden tonight to face the Rangers. Puck drop is set for 7:30. You can listen to the game on our sister station, 93.3 WMMR. This update's also brought to you by Mercedes-Benz. That feeling of owning your first Mercedes-Benz is hard to believe, but it's real. From the leather stitching to the iconic design, every element of a Mercedes lives up to its reputation. See for yourself at your local dealer. I'm Austin Jones on the home of the 76ers and Flyers, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
The Fanatic. So we're talking Phils, we're talking Eagles, NFL draft. Talked a little bit about Justin Simmons, who's a free agent safety, 31 years old, an all-pro twice. A lot of experience under Vic Fangio, would like to be here. Would you sign him? Ray said he'd do it no matter what. I said I would wait until after the draft to see who you got at the safety position. So we're going to get back to both of those conversations in a second, but I want to take a little detour because I was reading an article this morning on the Inquirer, and this is in my hometown of Cherry Hill, New Jersey. A Cherry Hill family is fighting the school district over foul baseballs landing in their backyard. So a married couple bought a house in 2024 that backs up to Cherry Hill East High School, which is where the baseball field is. Foul balls kept coming into their yard. One of them hit the woman who owns the house, also hit their 1-year-old son, and they are now trying to get Cherry Hill East to move the baseball field 30 feet to change the trajectory of the foul balls, and if Cherry Hill East refuses to do it, they're going to file an injunction to try to halt the baseball season.
What?
So I'm curious where people stand on this because this baseball field has been there since the 70s. So when the family bought the house, they knew it backed up to the baseball field. But yet now they want the baseball field moved or they want the season halted. Ray. Who's at fault here? Like, what's going on? What side of this argument are you on?
Bill, when you buy a new protein bar, how deep into the nutrition facts do you go?
Not as deep as you would probably think, but I know what you're saying. That you do your research, you do your homework.
This is something you care about. You care about what you put into your body. You go and do the homework. You research out what you need to do to make sure that you get the exact product that you're looking for, right?
Correct.
When you're looking to buy a home, don't you think looking what's on the other side of the fence and how it may impact you is a part of that homework?
I agree with you 1,000%. 1,000%.
I mean, what do you like? Okay, and let's say, because I know the article says they weren't very familiar with baseball.
Yes, the article says so.
You have a realtor, right?
They're from Israel, and this is in the article, and that they were not familiar with America's pastime of baseball because it's not popular in Israel. This is what the family said. So they didn't know that there was going to be foul balls.
Correct. Okay, I got it. You have a realtor, right? You have someone that's helping you buy this home, more than likely.
Well, that's where the anger should be directed. Right.
Well,
towards the realtor.
No, but you look over the fence. Hey, what's that? What is that going to do to us? Like, one, if the realtor lied to you, that's not the school's fault. That's not the school's fault. And two, like, if you're not asking those questions, what are you doing? Like,
I'm looking here. So just because people are asking on the YouTube chat, when did they buy the house? So they bought the house in December. So it's not baseball season.
Okay, winter.
And then a few months later, when the baseball season started, is when the foul ball started coming. Not only did it hit the woman and her son, it also hit her car and broke a windshield on the vehicle.
Is Kyle Schwarber playing there? Is he the one hitting 400-something home runs and destroying babies and, windshields?
But see, I think that it's really up to the realtor to advise you of this. Like, you got to tell the people, like, look, that's a baseball field literally right behind your fence.
I mean, they're looking, like, you can look what's on the other side of your fence. Like, that's what I'm not getting here. Like, when I found my apartment, the apartment search, if it had an outdoor space, what's on the other side of my fence?
Yeah,
what is down the street from me? What is my area like? That's an apartment search for me. Like, and I'm not spending nearly what they spent on this. I'm just renting an apartment. That's something you should do anytime you are trying to put yourself in a space where you're going to move somewhere. You should get all the information first. I don't know how you don't go peek over the fence like, whoa, what's that on the other side here?
Yeah, so the athletic director for Cherry Hill East basically said, you bought a house next to a baseball field. Like, this is what it is.
Stand your ground.
The field was there in the 70s. Now, this exact thing happened at my golf club as well. There was people who bought a house, right, on the golf course, on the fairway, and they started to lose their minds that balls would come into their backyard. So much so that we did actually move the tee box so that it would go into their yard less, and they put a big net up. See, that's what I'm wondering. Like, why can't they put up a net of some sort?
I was saying the story, weren't they pushing for
it's going to be too sore for their eyes. It's not, aesthetically pleasing.
Wait, is that what they say in the story?
No. I'm just saying that's going to be the excuse that's given out. Like, no, I don't want a net. I want to have a nice backyard. Why should I have to put a net up?
So it does talk about netting. So it says that they want the district to do more. They recommended that the school install a net that would have cost $60,000, but they have now backed down from that request. The couple has also rejected the suggestion that they sell their 5-bedroom, 5-bathroom, 5,000-square-foot home that they paid $880,000 for, records show. I don't know, man. Look, I feel bad for the people, and she's saying that her kids are prisoners in the house because they can't go in the backyard during baseball season. But I'm with Ray. I'm with Austin. I think when you buy a house that backs up to a school field and it's a baseball field, unfortunately, field's been there since the 70s. There wasn't any issues for the last 50 years. Like, now they got to change everything because you moved in?
An injunction to halt the season.
Could you imagine? If you're a parent and these people file an injunction and they halt your kid's season. Imagine if you're a senior.
Right,
And
that's what I was just thinking.
can't play your games at Cherry Hill East for your senior season.
This kid is sitting here trying to wonder if he's going to be able to play college ball, and now he doesn't even know if he's going to be able to play even high school ball.
So I'm curious what people's opinion are on this. You could hit us up on the text board. Like, where do you stand on this argument? Hit us with a text, 610-632-0975. Coming up, we'll get back to the Phillies conversation. We'll get back to the NFL draft conversation. And we'll look forward because best part about baseball, Ray, there's a baseball game tonight. That's the best part. We'll talk about it all coming up next.
Tyrone Johnson.
It's notable, not
41 here on 97.5 The Fanatic. So a lot going on today on the show. If you're just tuning in, no Mikey Miss for the rest of the week. So Ray Dunn, as I said earlier, slid into the studio better than he slides into the DMs on Instagram. But that was a great line by me.
Yeah, for legal purposes, it's a joke.
That was a great line. You ever slid into DMs? You ever try that with random people?
I'm not a big DM slider, you know?
Well, it goes into the requests, too, right? Like, they don't even see
if they don't follow you back, yeah, it goes in the request. And I'm let's be honest, I'm not like, I know some of you probably, like, someone you don't follow, you're going to try and slide in. That's not me. I'm not waiting the request.
Well, what I think's great are the obvious fake accounts that send you messages.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've gotten those.
Yeah, I've got like three different
You're so good looking. I'd love to connect, right?
Yeah, no, that's why.
It's
actually,
fake as can be.
I think I got one the other day. Let me see if I'm also getting a lot. Unfortunately, now I'm getting like stock market bots that are also trying to. Oh, here we go. Yeah, this is Mallory O'Neill Colbert. Oh, that was just high rate. Where's the other one? Oh, here it is. I can't. Ken's? It's just a heart emoji. I've been busy lately, and my bestie wants to meet up with you. And then
it's legit, right?
It's like,
legit.
whoa, look at this. That's honestly though, that's
it's
a real shame when you got like, oh, someone sent you a message, and you're like, nope, this is just.
Yeah.
No one's trying to slide in. No one watched the show on YouTube and was like, you know what? Ray Dunn seems like a guy I want to get.
I got to reach out to him. His takes are great. I love his sports opinion.
Yeah.
So here's what's crazy though, Ray. I talked earlier about the NFL draft being 2 weeks away and that there hasn't been a lot of excitement, right? And then we started talking about best player available versus need. Should they go after Justin Simmons? Like all these Eagles topics. Text board, silent. I bring up this issue about the Cherry Hill family that's looking for the high school to move the baseball field or halt the baseball season because they bought a house that backs up to a baseball field in 2024 and didn't realize that maybe foul balls would come over their fence. A field that has been there since the 70s. We brought that up. Austin says the text board is humming with opinions on this.
Yes.
So what do we got, Austin?
We actually have one of the parents of the East kids that texted in.
Here we go.
Listening.
She said, it's JV field, no seniors. You guys nailed it. Field was there first. This is a money grab, nothing else. They want us to move the field. Maybe they should move their house. The world is seemingly falling apart. This is the most tone-deaf discussion of all time. The schools have bigger problems to deal with than this nonsense.
Wow, so
all right.
Some angry parents there.
That's right.
I
stoke the embers.
Yes, I appreciate the Cherry Hill East families who are listening. Do we have any people weighing in on this that are not involved? Because clearly, I agree with the school in this situation. I think you buy a house that backs up to a baseball field, you should expect this, and the school shouldn't have to move the field. But I want some unbiased opinions from people who are not involved at this at all.
Gotcha.
What do we got?
So going similar to how your golf course is, Mike from Phoenixville checked in. He said, I work on a golf course, and we have a guy who complains anytime we use the backpack blower before 7 a.m. He's complained multiple times, and he's a member, and he plays golf there daily.
Yeah, it's like, how do you not know? You're living on a golf course, so not only are you going to get golf balls, they got to keep the grounds.
And that guy's a member, and he's complaining.
Actually, I'm kind of curious. Mike in Phoenixville, for my purposes, being from that area, what course?
Yeah, he didn't say. So maybe he'll check back in.
I'll probably check back in. Anybody on the side of the homeowners on the text board? Anyone saying that, no, the school should have to move the field?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You have people saying you either deal with it or you put a net up. That was one text.
Yeah, I can't imagine that there's going to be a lot of people that support the homeowner. Like, I would be on the homeowner's side if they bought the house and then the field was put there after they already owned the house, and now they're getting hit with foul balls. But when you buy a house next to a field that literally has been there for 50 years, we're going on 50 years that this field's been there. What do you got, Ray?
I got actually a great comment on the YouTube chat here from our guy Nash that just called in. I wonder if Ray's parents decided the Limerick power plant needed to be moved because it was just too close to their house in Springford, which is legitimately my parents, when they were looking in the area that it was, that power plant, if you've ever met me, I'm a pretty anxious guy. I come by it honestly. You're looking at a nuclear power plant all day. They decided not to buy a house that had in the window you could see the power plant. They didn't want that view because they did their homework of where they were. They looked at like, oh, wow, we'd be staring out at the power plant. Like, that's an example of, hey, if you don't want something going on around your house, don't buy a house near it.
So we bought our house in Cherry Hill about 3 years ago. And relatively close, not very close, but relatively close is the train tracks that come through. So what I did before I bought the house, I went and looked at the schedule for the train. And before we made an offer on the house, I went back 3 times when the train was supposed to come through. I sat in the backyard, I sat in the front yard, and I went upstairs into the bedrooms. Can you hear this train?
So I looked at an apartment on Front Street. And anyone knows Front Street, right there where the L comes through. And we were sitting there, we're like, oh, this is like a pretty nice apartment. We were there as the L went past. Place shook. Like, yep,
can't do it.
We're out. This was nice.
What you didn't do was say, I didn't know that the train was here, and now we want you to move the train.
That was actually my initial reaction. I actually said, if you could take the Market Frankfurt line and move it 30 feet, I'll actually move in.
So
you got a good text here,
Yeah,
Bill.
what do we got?
He said, I stand on the side of Bill Colarillo. He should flex his lawyer muscles and take this case to save these kids from these haters, and that's Alfie.
That's right.
My lawyer muscles.
No, I actually agree with them. You need to be a man of the people here. You need to use your law degree for good.
I think the school's going to be just fine. They got township attorneys who are probably going to be there. I mean, we do pay enough taxes in Cherry Hill. I don't think they need me.
Oh, wow.
I don't think
that was literally one of the text messages.
Yeah, they don't need me to pro bono this case. I think they're going to be just fine. All right, before we finish this conversation, anything else on the text board worth talking about with this Cherry Hill High School thing?
Nah, that was the main point of it right then and there.
All right, so you could read that article. There's a full article about it. The only reason I brought it up, it was the main article that got emailed to me this morning from the Philadelphia Inquirer. So there's pictures, there's everything. So take a look there. Inquirer always does a good job on all their coverage. Mainly, I read it for sports, but this one jumped out at me. So I want to get back to our Fightin' Phils because I know Ray's getting mad at me for overreacting.
Oh.
But Ray, coming off of that disappointing loss last night, when you have your ace, Zach Wheeler, on the mound, and you score 5 runs, and your bullpen can't hold the lead, they got to come back now with Taijuan Walker today. And as good as Taijuan Walker looked against the Colorado Rockies, let's be honest, they're the damn Colorado Rockies. They're on pace to probably lose 100 games this year. Is this another loss for the Philadelphia Phillies? And if so, does it allow the Braves to get right back in it? As bad of a start as they had starting the season, 1-8, couple wins in a row against your Fightin' Phils puts them right back in the mix. So I want to take a look at tonight's matchup. There's a right-hander on the mound for the Phillies. So we'll take a look at who we expect to be in the lineup for the Phils and really what our expectations are for good old Taijuan. We'll get back to that coming up next.
Fanatic Sports Update.
I'm Austin Jones, and this is your Fanatic Sports Update. This update is brought to you by Bradford White Water Heaters. When you need a new water heater, choose one that is built to be the best. Choose Bradford White. Now we're 15 days away from the NFL Draft, and Adam Schefter from ESPN joined Kincade and Salciunas earlier today, and he gave his thoughts on how the Eagles will probably move around this draft.
They've got 20 picks, that they are the team that's most likely to be moving around and making things happen on draft weekend. That's what I said. And there are needs. I think people forget that sometimes. They lost a lot of key players on the defensive side of the football. A lot.
The Phillies dropped Game 1 to the Atlanta Braves last night, 7-5. Taijuan Walker's on the mound. First pitch is for 7:15. You can watch that game on NBC Sports Philadelphia. The Sixers are in Washington to face the Wizards. Tip-off is for 7 p.m., and you can listen to the game on 97.5 The Fanatic. The Flyers are back as well. Busy night to face the New York Rangers. Puck drop is for 7:30. You can listen to the game on our sister station, 93.3 WMMR. This update's also brought to you by Bank of America. Whether you run a local or global enterprise, Bank of America gives you that business solutions to make every move matter. What would you like the power to do? Find out at bankofamerica.com/banking for business. I'm Austin Jones on the home of the 76ers and Flyers, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
1 o'clock hour here on 97.5 The Fanatic. Been a fun show so far. Doing a lot of Phillies, some NFL draft talk, or at least trying to do NFL draft talk, but it doesn't seem like the city's that excited about the draft. And I get it. You're coming off a Super Bowl win. It feels like it creeped up on us out of nowhere. And when you're picking 32nd, I think it's hard for people to really know where they're going to go. Because when you're in the top half of the draft, you at least can say, I like these prospects. When you're 32, could be anywhere. And I think Ray's biggest fear is we're going to be sitting around all night in 2 weeks on Thursday. It's going to get to 32, and you're going to hear, there's been a trade.
Again, I won't be upset for me. My sleep schedule's ruined. But for those of you that will ruin your weekend staying up Thursday night to see who they pick, I feel for you. Those are the people out there. I don't feel for myself. I feel for all of you.
Well, then you should feel for me, because not only am I going to be waiting for it, I'm going to be here on the air doing our draft special.
Well, I'm now concerned for you. Like, I think you thought you signed up for a 3-hour venture. This is going to be like a 5.
It could be a
5+ hour.
It could be a marathon. But I'll be doing it with Andrew DeCecco. And look, if you have not been paying attention to mock drafts and different things about prospects that could be available, make sure tomorrow night you tune in for the second draft special that Andrew DeCecco is doing. And you can listen to him every Saturday morning, too, on Early Birds. I'm telling you, the best Eagles reporter in the city is Andrew DeCecco. And I'm not saying that because he's a friend of mine. Read his stuff. Listen to him. He is the most knowledgeable guy on the Eagles around. You're going to learn a lot from Andrew DeCecco.
So have we settled on the Early Birds thing? Is that the Saturday show name now?
Well, I was listening to him on Saturday morning, and on every return, he was saying, welcome back to Early Bird.
Right.
So
I would like, and this is the second big thing I've asked at the station. One, making sure that you have the right schedule for draft night. Now, two, I want like, when he comes back for break, like, not just him saying. It's not weekends with Andrew DeCecco. It's Early Birds.
Now, hold on. In the YouTube chat, Neil says Tim McManus is good, too. Without a doubt. We have Tim on every Friday during the football season. We had Tim. I mean, we're lucky. We got Tim McManus and we got Andrew DeCecco who weigh in on the Philadelphia Eagles.
And morning show is McLean every week. You get a lot of good Eagles conversation.
You had Schefter this morning. We tell you it's the best Birds coverage in the city right here. I say it's the best. Please. Where are you going? You going to Giants fans from 10 to 2? You going to listen to a Giants fan about the Eagles? Please. Anyway, let's talk about the Philadelphia Phillies for a second, because last night, you don't want to overreact to one game, but it was a disappointing loss when you put up 5 runs with Zach Wheeler on the mound. And now the Phillies have to try to bounce back, and they got to do it with Taijuan Walker on the mound, Ray. And I know he had a great outing. He goes against the Rockies. He shuts them down. But I wouldn't necessarily say that Walker was like lights out in that game. I mean, I think he pitched well. Don't get me wrong. I was happy to see it. It was a great moment. His mom's there. It had been almost a year since his last win. You had to go all the way back to May of the year before. It was like 16 starts. He hadn't won a game. But do you really have confidence that Walker's going to have a good outing today in Atlanta at Truist Field?
No. You want me to I can project out hope. I can tell you that the velocity was up and he got swings and misses, which is something that he did not get last year. I mean, he couldn't miss a bat last year. So it was amazing to see him at least get the swings and misses, at least see the velocity come back for him. Do I think we're watching some renaissance of his career? Maybe not. Do I think he'd be a serviceable pitcher for you that can shut down a Rockies lineup like that can give you, the length you need in a 5-6 inning guy that goes, gives up 3-4 runs? Yeah, I think that he at least showed you in that start that it's maybe not all over for him. And one of the big things coming into this offseason, and I said this at the end of last year, and I feel like I was laughed at a bit for it, was that we were going to see him in spring training, and that he was going to be with this team again, and that you would at least give him the offseason to try and get back into the shape, get his arm back into that shape. He was thrown to the wolves at the end of last season. You needed to cover innings. You needed to cover outs. That was the nature of him being out there. It was, hey, man, you're making a lot of money, and in order to make that money, we're just going to have you pitch. And, yeah, it's tough because every 5th day it feels like you're going to lose a baseball game because he's starting for you, but that's what it was. You let him get stronger over the offseason. He looked solid in start 1, again, against the Rockies. You asked me, do I have hope that he's going to shut down this Braves lineup? No. My hope is that this offense keeps up what you saw last night against a much easier opposition this evening.
Yeah, you're right. I'll get into who's on the mound for the Braves in a second. But you're listening to WPEN and WPEN HD1, Burlington, Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station. broadcasting live from the Comcast Business Studio, powering possibilities. So, Ray, you are right. Where Philadelphia Phillies last night going up against Chris Sale, you don't expect them to have the success that they did have last night against the best left-hander in the National League, or at least he was last year. But me and Mike were actually texting about this, Mikey Miss, in addition to me rubbing it in that I was right about Edmundo Sosa. Sale didn't look right yesterday. Like
He hasn't to start this season.
He has not. You're going 3 starts now. I'm shocked that he changed his delivery. You know, they were talking about that in the pregame about how he's got a lower angle now and all that. You're the Cy Young winner last year, and then you change your delivery. I get it, he got hurt, but something's off with Chris Sale. But the Phillies were able to get to him. It turns out to not be enough because the bullpen lets you down late. But today, you're right. They should have an easier time going up against right-handed pitcher Grant Holmes on the mound. People may say, who? Ray would have probably hit the who drop if he was back there. No offense, Austin. You don't know all the drops yet.
Wow. Who? You have the drops
There it
right
is.
there. What, you going after Austin for a drop you wanted?
I know,
Use
I
your
did.
board. How dare you attack the sanctity of that room in there?
Well.
Yeah,
Shout out Ray.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
You play.
Look, my drop board doesn't work. The sound's not on.
Who do I trust now? Just me and Ray.
You see,
back
look,
here.
I don't have. Look, I'm hitting it. Look, nothing's playing. So my drop board doesn't work, Ray. Before you come at me,
Do you have the fader down in there? I bet he's got the one fader down because he's been using it for the music in and out of breaks.
yeah, he's probably got me down. Anyway, all right,
No. You see, this is why I told you shouldn't have placated to him earlier because this is what he does. He thinks everybody thinks, oh, Bill takes care of everyone. Bill's such a great
Austin,
guy.
what you say?
He's a victim and all things. You see this? He went right after
Aren't I
you.
nice? Aren't I nicer, Austin, than Ray makes me out to be? I'm a nice guy.
Good guy.
Oh my!
You see that?
From time to time.
You see that? How nice I am.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But Ray is still above all because he showed me the ropes. So it's
that's
different.
right.
You know, producers, we stick together.
Uh-huh.
So after he would show you the ropes, he would come in here and be like, "Oh my God, Austin.
That guy stinks.
Oh, I can't stand it in there."
Are you kidding me? That's what I was saying to Austin about you.
Bona fide scrub. He can't play.
All right, speaking of bona fide scrubs, this Grant Holmes on the mound tonight for the Braves may be a bona fide scrub. So I'm looking at his numbers. Last year, 7 starts, a 3.56 ERA, not terrible. So far this season, 2 starts, he's 0-1 with a 7.2 ERA. In 5 innings pitched this season, he's given up 4 hits, 4 earned runs, and a home run. So you would expect the Philadelphia Phillies to be able to get to a right-handed pitcher that's not a dominant pitcher. So let's take
You
a
would
look.
expect.
Well, you wouldn't have expected that to be a 7-5 game last night.
Grant
either.
Holmes says very strong. Who is this guy shutting down my team energy tonight?
Oh man, you thought I overreacted today. If this
I'm gonna call
lineup
off tomorrow.
if this lineup gets shut down, I may be unbearable
I'm
tomorrow.
done for the week.
All right, well let's take a look. So you got a right-hander on the mound. What's the lineup today then, Ray? We'll get it later on in probably on the afternoon
Schwarber,
show.
Turner.
So Schwarber's back at the leadoff spot.
Yeah. Schwarber.
Turner's in your 2-hole. Alec Bohm, he's hitting third.
No, he's not.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're
Harper's
right.
hitting third.
He's not hitting third. I meant Bohm's going to be in your cleanup spot, which is even worse. So Schwarber, Turner, Harper, Bohm.
Kepler.
Kepler's back in the lineup tonight against a righty.
Castellanos.
Castellanos.
That's going to be Real Muto. And then your 2.
You think they go righty-righty there? Casti, Realmuto? That's what they've done, right?
Yeah. Well, and this is something that you or Mike, I don't think have gotten after Topper for that kind of bothers me. I'll use the word placating. I don't know. Maybe I got stuck on like a word of a day thing, but like the pandering or the just kind of letting these veterans like, oh, I can't hit JT 8th because he's a veteran with tenure. You know, we don't treat our tenured guys like that. Isn't your whole thing righty-lefty? Like, I get it. You're probably better off with Realmuto batting 7th than a Marsh or a Stott right now. But, like, if you really believe in the righty-lefty thing, Realmuto bats 8th and you have Stott bat 7th.
Yeah, but I think, and I don't agree with this, I think Rob Thompson's just reluctant to put a guy like JT 8th.
That's what I'm saying. But
Yeah.
I don't like that.
But not anything other than the fact that he doesn't want to do that to Realmuto, right? I mean,
that's what I mean.
yeah.
I don't like that. I don't like that mentality. Like, I get it. You're veterans, you know, he's your clubhouse guy, and, you know, how many more? You know, but, like...
Now, I see people in the chat said send a message to Alec Bohm and put him down in the lineup. Now, I would consider not putting him all the way down at 8th.
Yeah.
But I would consider flip-flopping Bohm and Castellanos.
That's fine. I don't have a problem with that.
Right? Put Castellanos in the cleanup spot for now. Put Bohm 6th. See, because the problem is when Bohm's not hitting, it also is going to hurt Harper because you got nobody protecting Bryce. So they could pitch around Bryce. This is part of the reason why I don't like this lineup as much.
And lineup protection for me, I know there'll be like the analytical nerd to say it doesn't do much for you. The one thing for me, like anyone in this lineup, you probably prefer to pitch to other than Harper. Like I like going from Bohm to Castellanos. I understand Castellanos is swinging it good right now, but like, am I going to be that like much more inclined to pitch to Harper because Castellanos is there instead of Bohm? Probably not. Like you're giving Castellanos promotion because he's hitting 314 to open up the season, and Bohm right now
200.
200. Like that's really what you're doing this for. You're doing it because you want to get more at bats, more plate appearances for Castellanos than you do Bohm right now. I'd be okay with them doing that. I don't really have a huge problem with them doing it. And JT, like just I know people say I saw the Bohm 8th thing. JT's also not off to like a roaring start here, hitting the baseball either.
No, that's true.
Great defensive work from him.
I'm also looking at the numbers against Holmes. There's not a lot of matchups.
No, I think it's just Casty with a homer, right?
Casty's 2 for 3, with a home run, 3 RBIs. Brandon Marsh, no surprise, 0 for 2. JT's 0 for 2 against him in his career. And then everybody else only one at bat. Harper's never faced him. Kepler's never faced him. So, all right, when we come back, there's a couple things I want to do. We'll take a look at the odds for tonight because not in the Phillies' favor. We'll take a look at the odds for tonight. I want to look at the home run odds as well, get Ray's opinion on who's going to ring it tonight. Can you say ring it even though it's not at Citizens Bank?
Yeah.
We still go with ring it?
I mean, yeah, I think you can.
And then I don't think that I have been insufferable enough about being right about Edmundo Sosa. So coming up on the other side, we're going to play some of the highlights of Edmundo Sosa in left field. Mikey Mist, if you're listening.
Bill, you were right all along.
You're damn right. So stay tuned. All that coming up next.
Wednesday, April 9th.
Oh, Ray getting a little excited with his boy Kendrick.
Less than a month, man. Lincoln Financial Field.
Actually, you know what? I'm glad that you played this coming back because I didn't want to forget to mention. Today is the 4-year anniversary of when DMX passed away. Like, DMX, man. Like, I wouldn't put him up there as, one of the best rappers of all time or anything. He's probably in the top 20. Austin and I were talking about this off air. But, like, when I was in high school, DMX was unbelievable. Like, that's when all those good songs were coming out. And, like, just the way he rapped and with the aggression and all that. I'm slipping. I'm falling. I can't get up.
You know As people say, they don't make music like that no more.
No, they do not. Maybe we need... I don't know. I don't know if you could like edit out the curses on the next comeback and get a little DMX going. But
we probably have it somewhere in the system.
Yeah, I'll look around for it.
You probably got Party Up. Like everyone's got that.
Yeah, I feel like Party Up's the one that has to be there.
Yeah, everyone's got that. All right, so I want to get back to tonight's matchup with the Phillies, Taijuan Walker and all that. We'll look at some of the odds. But before we do, anyone who was listening yesterday, they heard me and Mikey Miss going at it for about 4 hours, where I said that they were going to put Edmundo Sosa in left field last night, and I was called every name under the book for being an idiot.
Idiot.
Then the lineup drops, and I had about 1,000 people, not an exaggeration, tweeting at me, texting me, you were right, you were right, you were right. And to Mike's credit, he went on, said, he disagrees with Rob Thompson. But then, bottom of the first play for Edmundo Sosa as a left fielder sounded like this.
0-2, hit in the air to left field, pretty well hit. Sosa's getting a chance, go over toward the corner, toward the wall, and he reaches up, and he made the catch! Oh, like Spider-Man! Edmundo Sosa getting his feet wet here in the bottom of the first inning. He just robbed Marcell Ozuna of a home run. And look at the smile on his face.
And when McCarthy said, look at the smile on his face, he wasn't talking about Edmundo. He was talking about Bill Colarulo on his couch, my little girl in my arms, as happy as can be. And I text Mikey Miss, couldn't have scripted it better. His response, script this.
And I can hear him saying it, which makes it all that much more funny.
But you know what else I can hear him saying? Go ahead, hit it for me.
Bill, you were right all along.
Oh, it's like music to my ears, Austin. I love it. That's my favorite drop we got.
I actually can't hear him say that. The reason why it's a drop is because it's happened, I think, once.
Well, he also said it sarcastically.
Well, he didn't say. I mean, you guys were talking about Sirianni, so I guess it couldn't be sarcastically. Like, he was technically giving you props in his way of giving you props.
So, and look, I'm going to give Mike a little bit of props here on this. He looks like a guy who never played outfield before. I mean, yeah. I get it. And the argument that Mike and I were having yesterday was that they would never have done this with Chris Sale on the mound and Zach Wheeler on the mound for the Phillies, that they would never even think about putting Sosa in left field. And I was telling him he was wrong and that they would. And then we were going back and forth about how, professional baseball doesn't work that way. You can't just take a guy who's never played and put him in the outfield, which I disagree with. I do think Sosa is athletic enough, and we've seen it before with other players, that they can get him to become an outfielder. But to do that, you got to give him opportunities, and you're going to have to suffer through some of the growing pains. Now, one of those growing pains was the play in center field where he's saying you to Johan Rojas, and Rojas lets the ball literally fall right in front of him, basically on his feet. And all of us agree that was more on Rojas than it was on Sosa. But to give Mike a little bit of credit, that probably doesn't happen if Brandon Marsh or Max Kepler is in left field. But even with all that being said, I still love the fact that Rob Thompson is thinking outside the box, trying to fix something that he didn't cause. The outfield is in the state it is in because of Dave Dombrowski not addressing left field, or even center field for that matter, with a right-handed bat. So you're trying everything you can with a guy like Sosa, who was hitting 600 coming into last night. So I give a lot of credit to Rob Thompson, and I want that experiment to continue, Ray. But yes, there may be some growing pains with it.
Yeah, there's going to be some growing pains with it. And like you said, unfortunately, that's kind of what you run when you're putting him out there in left field and you're trying to get him into the lineup. And you're trying to get him into the lineup right now because you're trying to figure out whether or not you could justify having all those lefties in the lineup. I mean, that's not a problem that Thompson created. It's a solution he's trying to create. Just like
Exactly.
I don't think the lineup construction is something that's a massive problem. It's a problem. They're trying to fix a problem that exists bigger than the order of the lineup, bigger than what position these guys play. That you built a lineup that is so left-handed heavy, and you also built a lineup that has similar struggles throughout it. And right now, I think you're looking for any sort of right-handed bat that could be consistent for you, and you're looking for someone to play the other side of the platoon because these guys have not shown you enough to prove they're everyday guys so far. So if Edmundo's going to give you some juice, you need to take it.
Now, I know it's early, and I've said I want to be patient with Bryson Stott against left-handed pitching. I want to keep giving him opportunities. But even though it's early, I'm done with Brandon Marsh against left-handed pitching. I mean, I'm actually almost close to saying I'm done with him in general.
You hate him,
with the
dude.
amount of strikeouts. Well, it's like
You despise Brandon Marsh.
Dude, he strikes out again last night coming in. He's going to have 145 strikeouts again, right?
I mean, I'm not telling you there's a lot of reason to be in love with the way he plays. I just... It's crazy to see. Like, I've seen you hate people, but you have a real disdain that I want to get to the bottom of. Is it because you're a little upset he's got the hair flowing? And you probably couldn't pull that off?
No.
Or like when you went with the beard, you couldn't pull off the beard the way he pulls off a beard?
Even if I could grow my hair and my beard, I don't think I would do the Brandon Marsh look. I think it's a little much.
You
think it's a little much. Well, look, I'm not jealous because, like, I'm not out on. Well, actually, look, Alec Bohm's got nice hair too, and I've been ripping him. Maybe it's the hair thing.
I do think it's kind of a hair thing. I'm trying to think. You're a big Zach Wheeler guy. He's bald, I think.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Sirianni's got a good head of hair,
but he shaved it off, which was in solidarity with you. So
that is true. That is true.
I'm actually curious now. Going through the lineup here, you call Bryce Harper a panderer. We know Bryce Harper's got a nice head of hair.
Well, Harper, he is a panderer. I mean, I still like the way he plays the game. I haven't ridiculed his play, but I do think
a little hair jealousy.
He panders a little bit.
You got a little hair jealousy going on.
Well,
I mean, I can't tell you that I've done a really good job of distracting us from the fact that Marsh has been bad.
Oh, yeah, Marsh is terrible.
And right now, this center field, what you're doing with it is like Rojas making that mistake last night is difficult because you need to justify someone being out there in center field, and his justification is he has one everyday skill that's far superior to Marsh, and that's him feeling the baseball.
But tonight, you're not going to see Marsh. Oh, no, excuse me. Tonight, you will see Marsh. You're not going to see Rojas, and you probably won't see Sosa unless it's a pinch hit situation. We're waiting on the lineup because there's a righty on the mound. What are you listening to?
Are you Marvin's rooming us to break?
Over my dead body.
Over my dead body. This is Take Care, though, right?
Yes.
This is the intro to Take Care.
I was wondering, Ray just started looking up into the...
Nick Castellanos.
Looking up into the sky.
I was transported to a sad time. I'm like, we're listening to the intro to Take Care.
So, all right, here's what I need, though, because I'm reading the YouTube chat, and there's a lot of people saying that I should not be allowed to take a victory lap because Edmundo Sosa looked terrible in left field. So if you were listening to the show yesterday and you understood the argument that Mike and I were having, I want you to hit me up on the text board. Can I take my victory lap today and always against Mike Missanelli for the argument we had yesterday? Because I believe I was 100% right. It didn't even matter if Sosa played well or not because Mike just said it would never happen, and it did. So that in of itself is a victory lap. But then the fact he robs a home run on his first opportunity to catch a fly ball in the outfield, I think I could take my victory lap. But hit me up on the text board, 610-632-0975. When we get back, we'll take a look at tonight's matchup. I'll look at some of the odds for the game and for home runs because I got a bet that I think is going to hit tonight. Keep it here.
Fanatic Sports Update.
I'm Austin Jones, and this is your Fanatic Sports Update. This update's brought to you by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app today. The NFL Draft is about 15 days away. Adam Schefter from ESPN joined Kincade on Salciunas earlier today, and he said he expects the Eagles to move around the draft. Give a listen.
They've got 20 picks, that they are the team that's most likely to be moving around and making things happen on draft weekend. That's what I said. And there are needs. I think people forget that sometimes they lost a lot of key players on the defensive side of the football. A lot.
That's right. So are they going to go tight end, or are they going to go D end, or perhaps D tackle? We shall see. The Phillies dropped game 1 versus the Braves last night, 7-5. Taijuan Walker's on the mound today. His first pitch will be scheduled for 7:15, and you can watch the game on NBC Sports Philadelphia. The Sixers are in the nation's capital to face the Wizards. Tip-off is set for 7 p.m. You can listen to the game on 97.5 The Fanatic. The Flyers are back as well at the Garden to face the New York Rangers. Puck drop is for 7:30. You can listen to the game on our sister station, 93.3 WMMR. This update's also brought to you by Rocket. Rocket.com is single, seamless home ownership platform to help you find, buy, sell, finance, and even refinance your home. Visit Rocket.com today, the new home for all things home ownership. I'm Austin Jones on the home of the 76ers and Flyers, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Guess who's back tonight, Ray? Taijuan Walker.
Oh, yeah.
Back on the mound for the Fightin' Phils. Can he make it 2 quality starts in a row?
I won.
Well, Vegas doesn't think so. So
Vegas had an over-under of 6.5 for last night, and that was smoked within the first 3 innings.
So maybe they will be wrong. But right now, the Phillies are underdogs tonight, as expected at Truist Park. They're a plus 118. Braves are a minus 138 tonight with Grant Holmes on the mound.
Can I tell you a fun little gambling aside here for about 60 seconds?
Please do.
So last night's the type of game where I think a lot of people would go no-run first inning. Or, if you're not familiar with the gambling thing, there's a bet a lot of people refer to as a NRFI, where it's a no-run first inning. You go 3 outs on either side, you win the bet if no one scores. I had someone close to me, I know, that calculated out, that said over the last couple of years, you are able to win at like a 60% clip or something like doing it. So he's like, this year, I'm going to go all in on it. I'm going to start betting the no-run first inning. When I tell you baseball this season, it has been like almost a catastrophic failure to the point where I'm concerned for the financials of my friend that has decided to do this.
Now, is he doubling down each time? Like, he'll put 25, and then they don't hit, he'll go 50.
No,
he's
not loss chasing because he believes that over the time it's going to play out. But like, I'm concerned about like next month's rent. I'm concerned about like next month's gross. Like, this is something that like you thought you had something nailed, but you don't. And I'm curious. I know there's definitely no run first inning bettors out there. I want to see if they have a sense that it has been worse this year than usual.
All right, so we got no run first inning for tonight. I mean, the odds aren't bad. It's minus 113.
Yeah, well, that's for a no-run first day. That's pretty close to plus money because they're usually pretty heavy. I think last night's was like a minus 162. Was I think what it was?
What was the over on runs yesterday? 7?
6.5 was the over on.
6.5. So tonight it's 8.5. So they're expecting obviously Walker and Holmes to give up some runs. Now I think the Phillies lose tonight. I think Walker comes back down to the guy you saw in spring training and last season. I know that's ominous for Phillies fans, but I think the Rockies played a big part in Walker pitching well. So I'm predicting them to lose tonight. But a bet that I really like tonight, that's a positive thing for the Phils. Bryce Harper going yard. You got a right-handed pitcher on the mound. Harper hasn't hit a home run since opening day, and he is a plus 560, which is the 7th best odds. So they don't believe that he's going to hit a dinger tonight. I think Bryce Harper goes yard tonight, Ray.
Now, how many of those players are Braves that are ahead of him?
5.
Yeah.
So you got Austin Riley has the best odds.
Really?
Actually, no, he doesn't. Schwarber just dropped below him. So Schwarber's got the best odds at a plus 390, which, of course, Schwarber's been unbelievable. Then Austin Riley, Matt Olson, Marcell Ozuna, Michael Harris II. Then
they got Michael Harris ahead of him? Wow, they really don't like Taijuan.
No, they don't.
No.
Oh, and Kalenic, too, is ahead of Bryce.
Yeah. I mean, they must really hate Taijuan, is what I'm hearing here.
Yeah, they do. So I'm putting that, mark it down, and I'm going to put it on my Ring It for Rays. If you don't follow Ray on Twitter, he does a Ring It.
I'm trying something new with that, by the way.
What's that?
I'm starting, I compiled, this is why I had so much of Grant Holmes information. I'm doing this thing, I think I'm going to do it daily now with the report, where I just basically spell out the splits for the guy against righties, lefties, his career against Phillies, and the games it's been since the guy hit a home run. Try and give people a little bit more information so they can make an informed pick. And also, for those that do the, home run bets amongst us,
so you
give them a little more information on who on the Phillies they should be betting.
See, Ray Dunn, it's a good follow.
I'm trying to help you out here, people.
A good follow on Twitter. So I'll get mine in. But yeah, Harper's going yard tonight. You can book that. It's going to happen. But I also think the Phils lose tonight. Now, that's what I want to look into coming up, because if they lose tonight, what that could mean for the rest of the series. There's one more game tomorrow, and you got Luzardo, but you're going up against Schwellenbach, who's been the Braves' best pitcher. But before we get into that, Austin got in my ear and said that we got a ton of texts on the whether or not I can take my victory lap over Mike Missanelli based off of me winning the argument yesterday. What do we got, Austin?
Yeah, here we go. Hey, guys, this is Jim from Johnstown. Bill, you were right all along. He did okay. He made a mistake in the outfield. It happens. Anybody could have did that. But he robbed a home run on his first play, and not everyone could do that. Go Phils.
You're damn right. What else we got? More people agreeing with me? I need to hear it. This is like a drug.
Sorry, bud. No victory lap. Leaving Stott in the lineup against Sale was the biggest part of the conversation. Stott went 0 for 5 and looked lost when he had a right-hander. Finally took the right mound, and his confidence looked shot by the ninth inning.
So they're going with the Bryson Stott angle. Yeah, because that was part of the argument, too, that I want Bryson Stott to keep getting opportunities against lefties. And I stand by that. I know he didn't look great yesterday.
Okay, Denzel.
By what I say?
I stand by that.
Oh. My man with Denzel. All right, what else we got? Don't give me some negatives.
Yeah, I got you.
I want to filter. See, Ray usually filters out all the positive text towards Bill. He refuses to read any positive text towards Bill that my peeps have to keep texting to say, Ray, read my text.
It's the biggest. Actually, it's one of.
It's like 1984 back there. The number. Ray, he's the gatekeeper of what gets put out there.
Back here.
It is one of the dumbest conspiracies people have about this show. Because that was, you're not reading to support Mike today. You're not reading to support Bill. No, I'm just reading the text that we get. Send a better text.
Right. What do you got?
You and Mike were both insufferable, but Billy Baseball was right.
Billy Baseball. One of these days, Mike's going to listen to Billy Baseball. He really is.
Can you stop talking to the third person? It's weird.
Well, I only refer to myself in third person when I'm using a nickname like Billy Baseball or Billy Bats or Billy Blue Line. Just give me 4 for 4 at this point. I mean, all my takes on the Eagles were right. Now I've been right about the fighting Phils. I almost won the damn Fanatic March Madness. I took home knockout. I mean, at some point, people are going to start hating. I'm a nice guy.
This is going to be Bill pretty soon.
Google me.
We've already hit that point.
I had to share this text really quick, though. This goes back to the Alec Bohm conversation. This is from Jamal from West Philly. Bohm acts like he's Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, he really does. And I was going after Bohm earlier, and I talked about it yesterday. I can't get over the fact that a guy who has been talked about in this town, and not only from the media and the fans, but even your own team had to bench you in the playoffs because of your attitude, comes into this season, and we're not even 10 games in, and it's already continuing. It happened in the Dodgers series, and now you saw it last night when every time something bad happens to Alec Bohm, he's got to throw his bat, drops his bat, throws his hands up, looks up at the sky. Like, come on, man. Grow up, Ray. Not you. Grow up, Alec.
I'm trying to.
But I'm talking to Ray.
Yeah. I know. I think we're all looking for it right now, and it's bad that he continues to do it while we're looking for it because it only makes us hyper-focus on it more. I kind of need... He either needs to start performing or... I don't know. I don't know what we're going to get from him. I understand why he's frustrated right now. It's not going well for him. But I just wanted... you pretty much nailed it. I can't really give you much more outside of I'm exhausted by it, you're exhausted by it. I would rather our conversations... center on something other than his body language because it's driving me crazy, it's driving you crazy, and he just needs to be better at the dish. They need a form of him that's humming to be the team. Like last year when they were playing that incredible pace, what was the big thing? He was an all-star. He was the starting third baseman.
He had a great start to the season.
You need that from him. You need him so badly to be the player that he was. I'm actually okay today. We were drawing out the lineup. I'm all right they dropped him to 6.
Yeah, I would do that. I would flip-flop him with Castellanos tonight. Now, I don't know if they will. Now, one of the things, I've credited Rob Thompson. I think he's managing differently this year. He does not seem to be as complacent. There's a sense of urgency to the decisions he's making. So, last year, I would have said no chance they flip-flop Bohm and Castellanos. I could see him doing that because I would have never predicted last year that he would have done some of the things he's done. But Rob Thompson seems motivated. Seems like there's a sense of urgency behind his decisions. So we're going to continue that conversation. And another thing I want to address on the other side is I've gone after Bohm for his body language and his attitude and the moping. And someone in the YouTube chat, and I apologize, I forget who it was. I think it was JM, said, Bill, why are you okay with Nick Sirianni's outbursts, but yet you have a problem with Alec Bohm's personality? It's a good question. I'll answer it on the other side.
Tyrone Johnson.
Fun show today. You had Bill Colarulo, Ray Dunn, and Austin Jones behind the glass. Close to the same lineup tomorrow. No Austin tomorrow, right?
Nope.
No Austin tomorrow, but
I'll be back Friday.
Ray and I will be back tomorrow with Mike off the rest of the week, and then Friday you get me and Andrew DeCecco back with Austin. But I think Sean Rodman behind the glass tomorrow. But
we won't have the same lineup all week. Every day is some different combination.
Yes, because you weren't here yesterday.
The three of us on Monday, then it was Austin yesterday, then it was me, it was the two of us in here in Austin. Wow, look at that. What a week.
Yeah, look,
shuffling the lineup more than Thompson, am I right, guys?
Bump.
The Phils.
All right.
I've talked too much today.
All right, no, you had great show today, Ray.
Maybe.
I had a lot of fun. And,
we'll
and
break
you
it down.
You weren't your normal, cocky, rude self towards me, so I appreciated it. Remember I told you I got text saying that you were too cocky towards me.
No, you get a call after the show. I'm sure you're still going to get it. Like my personality hasn't changed. If you don't like me, you're not going to like me when you hear more of me. Like that's the funniest thing about like sitting in there is like sometimes people like they don't hear me enough not to like me, and then they're like, wait, that guy kind of gets on my nerves. And then I sit in here and it's like, yeah, it doesn't get any better because you're hearing me. You're going to be more annoyed by me. It's like you, honestly.
Oh, stop.
I get annoyed when you're sitting in the 2 chair. Now when you lead, I'm going to leave here today and I'm going to have to like decompress for 3 hours.
The sad reality is people debate, does Ray really hate Bill? But really what they don't know is that you love me. They don't know that. That's what they don't see behind the scenes.
Don't know what you were talking about.
But speaking of love, talk about some Sirianni love for a second.
God.
So one of the people in the chat, I think it was JM, I was talking about Alec Bohm's attitude and how much I hate it, and asked the question, well, why do you like Nick Sirianni's personality when he has outbursts all the time, but yet you're ripping Alec Bohm? And I gave a simple answer in the YouTube chat that I'll give you right now. It works for Sirianni. Like, whether or not you like Nick Sirianni's personality and you like the childish outburst at times or the immaturity or the high school Harry type of things that he's been accused of doing, it works. It resonates with the team. And how do we know it works? They just won the damn Super Bowl. And you look at his 4 seasons, they made the playoffs every damn year, and they've been to 2 Super Bowls. So you may not like his personality, but it works. When I look at Alec Bohm, and I look at the sulking and the moping and the Eeyore attitude, as one texter said from Winnie the Pooh, I don't think it works for him. And not only does it not work for Alec Bohm, I do think it gets to people in that clubhouse after a while where it's like, come on, man. Like, you don't want to come to a workplace, whether it's sports or even an everyday business, where you want a coworker that is that type of guy. Where anytime something bad happens, it's, oh, we got to go pick up Alec. Alec's upset. He swung at the first pitch again. Let's go pick him up. Alec, it's okay, buddy. That wears on people. That's the difference between Sirianni's personality and Alec Bohm's personality. Sirianni's personality works, whether you like it or not. Bohm's doesn't.
All right. Listen, Sirianni won a Super Bowl. He's now the most accomplished head coach in the Eagles organization's history. Now, it's just funny for me to hear you say that it wears on people when you're talking about Alec Bohm, and then you never understand where criticism could come for your guy.
No, I understand it. Look, I get why people would not like Nick Sirianni's personality. We've talked about this. And I didn't love everything that he did even last season. And I was critical of him when he deserved it. Cleveland Browns game, jawing at the fans, bringing your kids to the podium after you barely beat them. Like, I understood all of that. But for whatever reason, and I think it's because he's genuine, the players like it. The players don't mind Nick Sirianni. In fact, I think they like him, and he connects with them. I don't think Alec Bohm slamming his bat or throwing his eyes up and sulking, people are like, you know what? That's just Alec. We love him. Like, I think that gets to
he's got a different role. He's got a different function. He has to perform. And I understand Sirianni's got his own things in game to deal with, but like, ultimately, Sirianni's role in game is not on the field, which allows him to have a little bit more of that, ride that roller coaster a little bit more. And also, in like, you're talking about the sport of football as compared to the sport of baseball. Like, to have the everyday up and down of baseball versus week by week, like, yeah, Sirianni could be livid and ride the roller coaster on Sunday. On Monday, yeah, he's got to talk to reporters, but he doesn't have to go out there and actually coach another game. Like, I think it's just two very wildly different places. So, honestly,
Yeah.
my comparison for JM, I'm more upset with JM's comparison than I'm upset with your
That's a good
personal, your personal defensive Sirianni. Like, I don't think you have to defend Sirianni anymore. Really?
Oh, no, I'm not.
I mean, I did a whole show on the weekend about, giving the dude an extension.
Yeah, we're going to do that, too. I may get in that with you tomorrow a little bit more because we're still waiting on the extension that has not come. And we haven't really talked about that much about what they should do, but we may get into that a little bit tomorrow. But no, you make a good point. It's probably an unfair comparison that JM makes between the two because they are completely different sports and completely different roles. But I did get a Instagram message during the break that I just wanted to read. This is from Will Schultz. Yeah, Bill, a victory lap is completely justified. You called the lineup to a T, and then the home run robbery. I don't care what happened after. It was sick. So, once again, Austin, can you just hit that drop for me one more time before the end of the show?
Bill, you were right all along.
Can I say something?
It's almost unfair that I'm doing this when Mike's not here.
I mean, it's kind of unfair.
It's almost unfair. Like, we may have to... I was hopeful maybe he would call in, but I know he's in the middle of traveling. Today was the one day... Well, I mean, I always like seeing Mike, but today was the one day where I was really, really looking forward to going at it with Mike on this.
Yeah, well, no. The reason you were looking forward to today because you were actually able to have one. You came in up 1-0.
Well, I mean, I think I'm up more than 1-0, but sure.
I think every day is you for some reason have this thought that you come in every day ahead. Every day is a new game. It starts 0-0. The fact is, today would have been a continuation of yesterday, in which last night put you up 1-0. That's why you felt good about coming in today. Usually, actually, you come in probably 3 steps behind the 8 ball. I give you credit for the way you try and keep up throughout the show, but
oh, stop!
I feel I almost feel upset that I wasn't here yesterday to witness the two of you go after it. Part of me is upset. Part of me almost feels like it was kind of therapeutic because if I watched the two of you fight like that, I might have been concerned.
Yeah, Austin was in the middle of it for sure yesterday, but it was a fun show. And
look, it sounded like it was a great show. I almost feel like me not being here for that show. Am I Wally Pip? Is Austin did Austin take my job yesterday? Because this seems like an all-time show that I wasn't a part of.
Yeah, we talked about it. We had a meeting yesterday with corporate, and they thought about Austin taking over, but
I
nixed it. I nixed it. I said no. I need my man Ray. As great as Austin's doing, and you are doing a great job today.
Thank you. I couldn't do that to you, Ray. Like I said, you're the great Ray Dunn. You know,
appreciate that.
You mentored. Wait, Austin, how old are you? Are you older than Ray?
Yeah, I'm 28.
Wow, you're 28. I thought you were younger than that.
Thank you.
28, man.
Brings a young energy.
I mean, it's still young when you're talking to a 41-year-old.
He's part of the daycare.
How old's
Alec?
Alec Bohm's 28.
Yeah.
But we still call him a kid. He's a good kid.
Yeah.
That
Austin's a good kid.
That Austin's a good kid. We love him.
I can only imagine.
As Bryce Harper would say.
I love referring to people who are older than me as good kids. I think it's a funny thing. I really enjoy doing it.
He's a good kid. All right, look, talking about being up 1-0, Braves obviously up 1-0 in the series. It's not a playoff series, but they are up 1-0 in the series. Tonight, I think they lose, right? Right, so just bear with me here for a second.
Okay.
They lose tonight with Taijuan Walker on the mound, and then they got to come back tomorrow, and they got to face Schwarber, who's been the Braves' best pitcher by far to date, which is shocking that Chris Sale has struggled like he has. If they get swept, man, I guess I shouldn't even put this out there.
No, go ahead, because you're not overreacting. They lost one game. You got them swept.
If they get swept, I mean, really what that'll do, though, is completely wipe out the great start that the Phillies had and the bad start that the Braves had. Because you came into this series 6 up, and you could finish this series with the Braves right back in it, 4-8, only 3 games back. The Mets are on fire. They're already a half game up on the Phils. I know it's just April. Please, I don't need the text or the call saying it's just April. But that would be pretty damn bad, dude, if they get swept by the Braves when the Braves came into this series. Well, I'm getting too ahead of myself.
No. Keep going.
Maybe they steal. Maybe they steal a game tonight.
No. I like this. Keep rolling. Yeah. Come on.
You think there's a chance? I know there's a chance, but what's your prediction for the rest of the series?
I think this was something Connor said, and I agree with Connor. The first game of this series was imperative to grab just because of the situation you're in with Walker. But, okay, Schwarber's on the other side tomorrow night. Luzardo's on this side for the Phillies.
And he's looked unbelievable. I agree.
The good thing, and this is something I always drives me nuts with baseball season, and maybe it's something with this fan base, but I care. Like, I'm just locked in Phillies wise. Good things can happen to the Phillies too, right? Like, and bad things can happen for other teams.
Yeah, like they could certainly hit Grant Holmes tonight.
Right.
Like, there's a chance they could.
Schwellenbach could have a start like Wheeler had, where it's like, wait a second, he's looked good, but he hasn't had his stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
here's my major concern, and we'll see how it all plays out. But my major concern is that Walker has a typical Walker outing, unlike what you saw against the Rockies, which means you got to go to the bullpen sooner. So now you're going to exhaust the bullpen, and now you got to come back tomorrow and really hope that Luzardo can give you 7 strong innings again, because if not, your bullpen's shot.
Now, wait a second.
Any chance we see Romano tonight, or you think he's putting him on the shelf for a little while?
I don't think so. I would think probably the earliest tomorrow, but yeah, you still got Alvarado that didn't pitch yesterday. You still got, I mean, Kirkering they probably won't go back to today, right-handed wise. I mean, you could be talking about, oh man. But to go back to what you just said about going to the bullpen.
So you threw the old man in there because you're agreeing this is not a good 2 days.
No, but that's the thing. This is, again, bad things can happen to other teams. The Braves used 4 relievers last night. Grant Holmes this season has pitched in 2 games. One of them has started and thrown 5 innings. If the Phillies let him go 6 innings tonight, the storyline isn't going to be what the pitching was. It's going to be the fact that the hitters did not take advantage of what was put in front of them and the opportunity to hit Grant Holmes. He's pitched 5 innings, and he gave up 4 earned to the Dodgers. Like, you can score off of this guy. This is not some impenetrable force. They're going to have to use their bullpen too. So
yeah, you're right.
Like, you're doomsdaying the Phillies while ignoring the fact that on the other side, the Braves likely will have to go to their bullpen.
That's a good point, Ray. You're making me feel a little bit better. I'm just nervous.
Trying my best, man.
I'm just getting nervous that you're not going to see back-to-back starts from Walker that are going to be solid. I'm not putting my money on it, but we'll see how it all plays out.
While you freak out about like the space that you've gotten with these teams, like, is there anyone in baseball right now that they're not going to be able to catch this team? Anyone in the National League, you're like, oh wow, this, like, the Giants have played better, so that's an extra team in the conversation, but. Come on. We're okay.
We will see how it plays out. We will react tomorrow. I want to give a congratulations to Nash, who's the winner of the tickets to the Truist Championship at the Philadelphia Cricket Club in Flowertown, May 7th and May 8th. But if you didn't win the tickets and you want to go, you can buy tickets at truistchampionship.com. Big thank you to Ray. Big thank you to Austin. Big thank you to all of you who listened and engaged. We'll be back at it tomorrow. Have a good night.